looks like we're live. Let me pop out the chat. Pull that down. And I'll move it over a little bit. Now let me go to my YouTube. So that I can copy the link. Hey everyone, let me get these links out. The link to the stream. Let's see here. Trade chat. Now, since this is on YouTube public, I might as well go to WyckoffMode public chat. Bear with me while we wait. I'm sending it out on Twitter as well, so let's go to Twitter. Home. Now why? Okay, there it is. Okay. All right. Now let's go to Trading View. Let me go and refresh this. Might want to go ahead and say November 8th, 2022. Let's see anywhere else. I think that's it. Man, I have a lot of charts up here. Goodness. We'll leave them up. What the hell? All right, we're still waiting a few more minutes for people to arrive. That's the usual. I probably wait about 5 to 7 minutes on average. I'm seeing one viewer currently. On my end, I see 3 have written in the chat. Yeah, I like the hat as well. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is Ocean Pacific hat. I've had it a long time. What am I drinking? This is iced tea, homemade iced tea. But I want to go get some coffee while we wait for some people to arrive, just to try to help give me a little bit of spunk, you might say, for a little bit, because I am getting sleepy. You're seeing 9 viewers. Yeah, now I'm seeing 6. But I'm going to get a cup of coffee. I'll be back in about a minute and a half, something like that. Maybe 2 minutes. I don't know if my wife says something to me or something, but I'll be right back. All right. Stole some of my son's Halloween candy. Got me some Reese's peanut butter cups and Mr. Good Bar. I'll eat the Mr. Good Bar first. I haven't eaten one of these in a long time. Yeah, get a little bit of sugar, caffeine, some chocolate, some protein from the peanut butter. Here, that'll give me a little spunk here for a minute. We'll start in about 2.5 more minutes. Now about 2 more minutes. That's one Mr. Good Bar and one Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Let me eat 2 more Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and we'll get started. 2 more Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and we'll get started. the blue right there. One more Reese's peanut butter cup. One more. Then that should give plenty of time for some people to get here from Twitter. Some that may have got a notification on my status update on TradingView. Well, I did see 12, now it says 10. Alright, I think we're, let me take a couple of hits off my e-cig. Then we're ready to get started after I take a couple of hits off my e-cig. Can we rewatch the Vimeo streams afterwards? I couldn't find the last one on the website. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on at the moment. Trying to contact Mo at the moment as well. I haven't heard from him in a while. I'm not going to go into... Let's just say this. He was from Syria. He and his wife left Syria. He has and his child left Syria during deep state bombings of Syria. We're not going to go into details of that, but bottom line is destroyed their home, their parents' home, Mo's parents' home and stuff, the bombings. But he went to Turkey, basically a refugee, war refugee. He and his family went there, and he's been staying there on visa ever since. Well, I also know that inflation has skyrocketed in Turkey. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but it has skyrocketed. And so I haven't heard from him for a while. I'm kind of concerned, getting concerned, because I was wanting to ask him a few questions as far as how to. I haven't gotten instructed enough by him yet, because I hadn't really got to that point yet until now, where I wanted to know how I can just create emails myself to send out to everybody. But right now it looks like even the stream, whenever I click start stream on it, it won't work. He may be working on it at the moment. It may be that he saw a request for how to send out emails manually myself. He may have been working on that to get that done, not realizing he may have needed to pay a little bit more attention to detail, that what he did there could have affected the ability of the website to send out an email whenever I click start stream. But it's not working to allow the stream from Vimeo, to make the connection through or anything. I don't guess. I guess that's what's occurring. I don't know. Yeah, I'm cheating. I'm eating this last Reese's peanut butter cup. I just hope he and his family are all right. And hope to hear from him again. Just hope and pray it's not something where, certainly hope it's not where something terrible happened, I never hear from him again, and then I'm kind of stuck in regards to the website, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to think the worst. I really don't want to dwell on anything negative like that. I have not been keeping up with any news on FTX, none of that. With what I've been having going on, where I mentioned before yesterday in a private stream with premium subscribers, as far as multiple scripts for multiple groups of time frames for macro signals, long-term signals, mid-term, near-term, scalp term, daily trading, day trading, and basically signals for each one. Like up here right now, this is macro. How so? I don't know if you can see that right there. Let me go and increase it one more time. Let's do it one more time. Okay, 16 week. I don't know if y'all can see right above that. 8 week. It says Bitcoin US dollar 8 week. Bitcoin US dollar 4 week. I'm assuming that y'all can see that 16 week time frame. 16 week. All I'm concerned about in this 16 week, or this bottom right hand corner, I want to see that. You may not can see the K, but I want to see that the level of the K line greater than 80 and rising, as far as direction, rising or falling. I want to see it rising. That's it. That's all I want to see in this bottom right hand time frame. Ended up being the 16 week, and that's actually the highest that we should go for Bitcoin, but mainly for its cycles, and different assets have different cycles. So 16 week for Bitcoin, it could be a even higher one, could be a lower one, depending on the asset. Excuse me. 16 week. The purpose, excuse me. All right. Has some cough up there. All right. This is this entire group right here. Notice it's just 6 charts. It's not 12. Excuse me. It's not 8. It's just 6, not 8. This bottom right hand corner, this time frame is where I look for the highest time frame in which this yellow K line is above level 80. Well, it was above level 80 in this candle, and you see that yellow dot, don't you? And it's above level 80. Red right here is level 80. It's above level 80 right here. That's why we got a yellow dot. That's the only condition for this chart right here in the bottom right hand corner, where I'll change the time frame in here to see what the highest time frame is in which the yellow K line is above level 80. Up to, in this case for Bitcoin, this asset, the 16 week time frame. All right, now we cut that in half, because that was the highest time frame and ended up being our maximum time frame, the 16 week. We cut 16 weeks in half. Here's 8 weeks. We cut that in half. Here's 4 weeks. We cut that in half. 2 weeks. We cut that in half. 1 week. Cut that approximately in half. We don't have 1 week, 7 days. We don't have a 3.5 day time frame, which is half of 7 days. So I rounded up from 3.5 days to 4 days. That's why that top left one is 4 days. All right. These 5, I want to see my conditions of the greens falling, and it's less than level 80 when it's falling, and I want to see the Phoenix ARI falling and less than 80 when falling. If it is, I'm going to get a yellow dot, because that's the conditions I have in all these other 5 time frames. Note the K line, I don't have any levels or direction for that. It's only the green line, less than 80. In other words, this is the macro to open a short. 3x to 5x leverage, rather large position. You're going to keep it open for quite a while. It's a very good chance you are in distribution if this were to get triggered. This would be my way of providing macro analysis in the future. But the green line, we need it falling less than 80 while falling. Here's falling. The red line, I want it less than 90. And note the direction, I don't have that checked. I don't want that checked. I just want it to be less than 90. That's it. All right, the ARI, well, I want it less than 80 and falling. Want it less than 80 and falling. Again, that's to open a short. That's the conditions to open a short here. All right, and if all those conditions and those conditions that I just pointed out, they're in this chart, this chart, this chart, this chart, this chart. What told me to use these 5 time frames in these charts? This chart right here. The highest time frame in which the yellow K line is above level 80. That's why, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. That's why you only see K, the level and direction. That's why all you see over here. That chart, that time frame, tell me what other 5 time frames I'm going to use to open a short on the macro. And when I say open a short, it has a very good chance of staying open a while. And I'm not going to walk through it as far as how we know it would have stayed open for a while. Even right here, would have stayed open right here. Good chance of it staying open right here. Why am I saying that? Because I can already see right here the 8-week time frame is the highest time frame in which the K line is below level 20. Right here. Well, we have the 8-week, you know, because it could be the 9-week, 10-week, 11-week. I haven't gone higher, but I'm just going to use the 8-week as an example. If we cut the 8-week in half and go to 4-week and then 2-week, well, that's right here. We would be using the 2-week to close that short that you open right here. We have a little bit of wick there. It's hard to say whether or not you would have closed that short right here on this candle. You open it up here, closed it here is what it's looking like if you were using, excuse me, if you were using the 2-week. But let's make sure. Let's make sure. That's the 8-week. Let's look at the 9-week, 10-week, 11-week. Yeah, the 11-week is below level 20. No, excuse me, it's not. I need to be looking at the yellow. I need to be looking at the yellow. Go back to 9-week. I know that where we opened it there. No, it wasn't. It looks like it's going to be the 8-week. No, it's not. Because we opened it here. My bad. Let's go to the 4-week. The yellow. This yellow here, anytime I move this yellow vertical timeline and anything in here, it's going to move everywhere, y'all. Just letting you know that. But here, the yellow K line is not below level 20. Here in the 4-week, let's go to the 3-week. Man, that's close right there. Let me look at that. Let me look at that. Right there. It says 20.39 over here. The levels are right there. So when I put my crosshair there, I look back to the far left to see 20.39. It was not below level 20 there in the 3-week. Let's go to 2-week. If the yellow, the 2-week was not. 1 week. The 1 week was. The 1 week was. The 1 week was. And also I need to tell you one other thing. Well, I'm not going to tell you that right here. There's an input that has to be changed. I meant to do that. There's an input that has to be changed. You would not have the input the same, let's say, that we have for the 16 week. You really shouldn't be using it on the 1 week. Alright, but let's go ahead and cut 1 week, 7 days in half to 3.5 days, round up to 4 days, then cut 4 days in half, and that would be 2 days. So let's go to the 2-day time frame. Go back to that yellow. You would have used the 2-day time frame to close that trade right here in that regard, but really I don't teach that because you would have started with the wrong one there. I don't want to get into details on that. You wouldn't really use the 16 week, no, excuse me. I'm talking about as far as opening, I say again, as far as opening with 3x to 5x leverage, a short that's going to stay open a long time, and 3x to 5x to make it a lot harder to liquidate it. But as far as it going up against you, the price going up against you, I was doing wrong going to this to look about when to close it. No, because the purpose of this macro chart that we were looking at was to see when the signal was provided on the macro. Just a moment. With the 16 week, they all lined up. What that's basically telling me is, number one, there's a very good chance we're in distribution when we were right here 50,681, because all of these dots just fired off in all these time frames. They all lined up. The planets aligned. Good chance that we are in distribution, and right now may not be a bad time at all at that point. It's going to be about right there. It may not be and let me go ahead and I'll leave it. No, let's make it yellow. I want to make that yellow. There it is. Right now would be a good time to open a short position that's going to be open a long time at 3x to 5x, so a rather large position too, and then you'd have a pretty decent. Usually I kind of this is me, it's personal preference. Of course, if you have millions of dollars, it's different. But whenever I open positions like this that I plan on leaving open for a long time, I would recommend, again, 3x to 5x, but I'm personally fine if it gets liquidated. May open one position like that where it doesn't even have a stop loss on it. If it gets liquidated, it gets liquidated, and I'm perfectly fine if it gets liquidated. But then there's also where you can have an even larger position on there, where I do recommend most certainly having a stop loss. If it's going to bother you real bad emotionally if it were to get liquidated if you did not have a stop loss on it. So you would want to do that too. But what I'm getting at here is this. Let's go back to full screen on the 4-day. That was the lowest time frame in this group. Let's look at how many percent. Well, first let me get it to 50,000, 681.69. Let me go and copy that. Now let's get this tool. Let's go up a little bit to that wick. When I say to that wick, what was the high there? It looks like it was 51,864, 51,864.56. $51,864.56. All right. In this case, you opened it here. There's a pretty decent wick here. It's getting real volatile here. When I say it's decent wick here, if I move this, y'all see that white wick right there? Now I'm going to move that back because that's where it would have been open. And let me back. That way I know it goes back to where I had it. And let me save. 2.33%. And usually in this case right here, you're opening, in this case, a short position that's going to be open for a long time, and your stop loss may, if you have a stop loss, I told you there's a couple of different ways I do it. Maybe have one position that it's no stop loss on it at all. I'm perfectly fine if it gets liquidated, and then the other one, even larger, but it would bother me if it got liquidated, so have a stop loss on it. But 2.33% that it went back against you here. If you open it here around where this candle closed on this wick, this is a 4-day candle, by the way. But that's what I'm trying to say, that you may have opened it up here. More than likely you did, using my system. Then when it came down here, now these yellow dots started firing off on, because the 16-week K-line was already above, the yellow K-line was already above level 80. So it already knew to look in the 8-week, the 4-week, 2-week, 1-week, 4-day. And all of those dots, let's say, fired off saying all conditions met. So when you probably maybe opened a scalp up here that ended up being a swing, because also the swing group of time frames, they fired off, because I'm going to have different groups. They fired off where they lined up to let you know, hey, this scalp short that you opened here, you might want to leave it open longer, because or open a separate position. You may have to do it on a separate exchange. Some exchanges don't let you open multiple positions on the same asset. Some do, some don't. But I think you get my drift there from my system, using different groups of time frames for whether you're scalping small swing and then large swing, but then all of a sudden the macro starts firing off, where, hey, now it's to open up a short here that's going to have a pretty big stop loss on it. We're not going to have that one too tight. Don't bet an amount that you're uncomfortable with if you were to lose it, especially if you don't set a stop loss. And if you can set multiple positions on the same exchange, maybe even open a larger position that does have a stop loss on it, but still I would not be too tight with that stop loss. So figure out how, when I say with the stop loss, I'd say at least 10-11% stop loss. Figure out what amount is okay for you to lose if you were to get stopped out, and then what's the max. No, I don't want to lose any more than this. That should help you determine about the size of your position then at 3x or 5x, whatever. But I'm just pointing out here 2.33% when opening it, and let's say opening it around the close of this candle, this 4-day candle, where all of them fired off. You're not sure, it was real volatile in here, and you may have been involved in trades right here, but then also everything fired off on the macro. Well, it's time to open up a short there that's probably going to be open a long time. But as far as closing that, see, I was working my way down to closing it as if I'm doing, it started to get down to where I was either small swing trading, basically using the near term group, or potentially going into a scalp. I didn't want to keep going down into that. Because the main thing I was wanting to point out is this is a short that's going to be open a long time. So it will be, we'd use a different rule as far as when we would consider closing that short that you intend on leaving open a long time. A long time. A long time. Also, knowing what you know about Wyckoff method, the different phases, of distribution and accumulation, of distribution and future accumulation. You know, just understanding the phases too, where you would have opened that around this candle right. This is the 3-day, not the 4-day, but it would have been right around in here where you open it. Yes, it may have come up a little bit, about 2.3, 2.5%. Let me see. I heard a noise there. Let me see what's going on here. I just got the notifications that you're live on the website. You just got them? Huh. I guess it was a bit late, but I know you're on YouTube now. Okay, appreciate that, USC. Appreciate that. It could be something with the server. The third-party server that I'm using, going through, who takes care of my domain and all that I pay to take care of that. All right, but anyway, also understanding, knowing full well that after getting that signal in the macro, you know, everybody talking. I remember some people here saying that we were about to go up here, and I told several top analysts on TradingView, be careful saying we're going up here, because a lot were saying that you know, we're mooning going up to 100,000. Right here, you go back on my publications, you would have saw that I said be careful right here. Also right here, I said be careful right here. We're not mooning right here. But again, understanding distribution and then using the system for opening and closing trades as well. On top of that, getting that in the macro, that's basically implying that, man, this thing has very high odds of doing a major reversal to the downside, and it's going to be there a while, but a major reversal to the downside. And now we would close that short that you plan on leaving open a long time. You'd close it later. Now, does that mean I would not do other types of trading all in here? No. You know, doing multiple types of trading. This particular one, though, knowing distribution, Wyckoff method 2.0 distribution, understanding it well, you know, hey, there's a good chance this particular one I'm going to leave open for a while. I ain't going to touch it. Does that mean I won't do other trades all in here while we're making it down to here? No, most certainly would be doing other trades. I'm just talking about from the macro. But then doing it, going to the macro, I went from one extreme to the other. I went from the short-term group all the way to the macro group. And I was like, do the indicators look the same? No. Well, in that case, I need to change some inputs to fit within my conditions. Once I saw all of them were fitting into my conditions after I changed the inputs, then common sense tells me if I went from the very low, one extreme, to the very high time frames, the polar opposite extreme, and I see I can't apply my conditions to the same, then common sense told me the inputs have to be different then, and that's what I've done. I'm not going into the inputs, what all I changed them to and all that right here, right now. But I just wanted to point out that there is a way, and I've been writing time frames, groups of time frames, what inputs I need to have on from this time frame to this time frame, inputs from this time frame to this time frame, inputs from this time frame to this time frame. Instead of using the same inputs for every time frame, no matter what time frame it is. So I'm getting a little bit more detailed, specific for that purpose, for that reason. Now, let's go to Ethereum, for example. Let's go to Ethereum. Man, I have so many Ethereum charts here. What does this one say? Closed short, so this one must be open short. Yes, it is. To open a short, let's do it the way that I was doing, having my highest time frame. Oh yeah, I remember premium subscribers that are here watching me on YouTube. Y'all know I told you the default set of time frames, to open a short or to open a long when scalping is the 3 hour, 90 minute, 45 minute, 20 minute, and 10 minute. I'm not going to explain why. That will be in lessons for premium subscribers on the website. I did begin explaining it to them in our private live stream. I'm not going to explain it here why that's the default lowest set of time frames, why there must be a default lowest set of time frames. I'm not going in all that here. I'm just wanting to point out that there was no time frame at this yellow. There was no time frame at this yellow vertical timeline. And let me do this. Remember that it's right here in the 10 minute. I'm going to move it. Y'all see the yellow line moving in other time frames? All right, right here was the 10 minute, 20 minute, 45 minute, 90 minute, 3 hour, 8 hour. All right, the 8 hour means nothing here right now. Nothing. What matters is this 3 hour, 90, 45, 20, 10. Why does that 8 hour mean nothing? Here's why. The highest time frame that may be used for scalping, depending on what I finally decide to have my input set at, that's really the last phase of what I'm fine tuning, finding a balance. I want it sensitive but not too sensitive. My inputs for scalping, using the short-term group as well as the 12-hour, probably the 24-hour, potentially not the 2-day time frame. All right, but here's what I'm getting at. From the 2-day time frame all the way down to the I'm not going to say the 5 minute. Let's say to the 1 hour time frame. From the 2-day time frame all the way down to the 1 hour time frame. When I say down to the 1 hour, here's the 20 minute, 45 minute, so I shouldn't necessarily say that. There's the 90 minute. Let's look at the 1 hour right here. I'm just going to change the 45 minute to 1 hour here for a second. Well, we see the K line in the 1 hour was above level 90 there. It was above level 90 there. But I don't want to go that low. Could I go that low? Sure. When I say sure, all right, have a look here. All right, here's 1 hour. Let me have a look at the 60. I do have a 75 minute time frame. 75 minutes above it. Then the 90 after that, where the K line was above it here, but I'm telling you, the previous 90 minute candle, you would have saw conditions would not have lined up in lower time frames to open a short right there where we were going up with this bull trap. Right here, the K line is below level 80. The yellow K line is in this 90 minute time frame. That's why the 75 minute red going across here horizontally is level 80. This yellow K line's up here. It's not down. That's not until the next candle where it goes down below level 80. So right here it is above level 80. 75 minute time frame is the highest time frame in which the yellow K line is above level 80. Well, since we did that, let's go and put that 75 minute up there. Then let's go to let's cut that in half. Half of 70 is 35. Well, let's just use the 30. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll use it exact since it's this low. So half of 70 is 35, and half of 5 is 2.5. So 35 plus 2.5 is 37.5. Let's round that up to 38 minutes. Now let's cut that in half. Half of 30 is 15. Half of 8 is 4. 15 plus 4 is 19. 19 minutes. All right, the next time frame, bottom left-hand corner, let's just round up 19 to 20. Let's do half of 20 and make that 10, y'all. If we... Oh, it did not change that. Shoot. Half of 30 was 15. That was 19. Okay. It does say 19. Then come down here. That does say 10. Right here, I need to say 5. And that's it. That's it. No lower than that. Where I'm looking for what condition. Well, those conditions are already built in. There's a yellow dot right here in the 10 minute. There's not a yellow dot right here in the 5 minute, but doesn't that 10 minute candle have 2 5-minute candles? It most certainly does. So if I move this one click to the right, the 5 minute, that's the last 5 minutes of this 10 minute candle where we got a yellow dot. Got a yellow dot. Got a yellow dot here. This means nothing. Remember I said we just went down to the 5 minute. But we got a yellow dot here in the 5. Got a yellow dot in the 10. Got a yellow dot here. Excuse me. Yeah, this is 19. I don't have my glasses being able at an angle where I can see that that's 19. That's not 10. This is the 19 minute, which is half of 38 minute. But we have the yellow dot. For what conditions? The green is falling, less than 80 when falling, and the ARI is falling and less than 80 when falling. Therefore, we got a yellow dot. Same condition here. We got a yellow dot, yellow dot, yellow dot in those 4 time frames. What told me to use those 4 time frames? If I was scalping in this low of a time frames, the 75 minute, what in the 75 minute in particular told me to use these 4 time frames in this case? It was the K line, the yellow K line in the 75 minute. That was the highest time frame at that time of your list of time frames in which the yellow K line was above level 80. We halved that 75 to get these other 4. The reason it was just 4 and not 5 because 5 minutes the lowest. And once all the planets aligned and all of those lit up with a yellow dot, the conditions were met. All right, that's the signal to open a short right there. If you went that low. I want to say that low of time frames. All right, now that you've opened a short, now that you've opened a short, you got to be asking yourself, what is the highest time frame in which the yellow K line is below level 20? Let's go. This is open short. Now I'm going to go to close short. Well, before we do, I'm going to look in this 5 minute. That was at 2105. 2105 November. Because what I'm doing right here, I'm going to show you could have done the same thing right here. All right, but 2105 November 7th. Let's go to this. Let's change this to 5 minute. And it'll be faster, easier if I just copy that in the 5 minute. And then I'll paste it in here. Let me go full screen first before I paste it. This is a 5 minute. I'm about to paste. There it is right there. I'm going to save that. All right, now remember, we had opened a short here using a short-term group with my conditions. Now, what time frame do we use to close this short? Well, it depends on a short. Just look at it this way: going down from 80 to 20. Going down from level 80 to 20. Well, if we open a short going down from 80 to 20, now I need to know when to close that short, meaning go up from 20 to 80. Well, if we're going to go up from 20 to 80, well, first I need to know what's the highest time frame in which the yellow K line is below level 20 before it can turn up to go above level 20. What's the highest time frame in which the yellow K line is below level 20? Well, let's have a look. And remember, that's the one on the right. The one on the right. The one on the right right here. We see the 8 hour right here. And let's go and change the color. I'll just delete that one. So we have our 1 right here. All right, the 8 hour. Let's go to, I bump or jump from 8 hour to 12 hour. We're not using a 9 hour. We're not using a 10 hour. We're not using 11 hour. We jump from 8 hour to 12 hour. We see at that yellow vertical timeline, the K line is below aqua level 20. Now we jump from the 12 hour to the 24 hour. At that time, this yellow vertical timeline, it was not below level 20. The next 24-hour candle, it was, but this one, no. So the 12-hour time frame was the highest time frame in which the yellow K line was below aqua level 20 right there. That's different from Phoenix, where it's white aqua level 20. All right. Now that we know that, 12 hours, let's cut that in half. 6 hours. But we're not using the 6 hour. Let's cut that in half. Go over to the far right. 3 hours. That's the time frame that you would be using to close. Let me make sure my inputs are correct. Yep. And my conditions are correct. When I say my conditions are correct, what conditions? The K line's not involved here. In this time frame that I'm using for closing, I use the yellow K line to determine what time frame I'm going to use for closing. Now that I know what time frame I'm going to use for closing, I need to know what my conditions are to close that short. Well, that's going to be the green. It needs to be greater than 20 and rising. So it needs to be rising and greater than 20 when rising. The red line just needs to be greater than 10. The ARI, it needs to be rising right here. It needs to be rising, and it needs to be greater than level 20. Greater than level 20. The green line needs to be rising and greater than level 20 when rising. So that short that was open here actually would have went on down to here. But again, I don't recommend going that low. You saw me 75 minutes, then I halved 75 to then use the, I think it was 38, then half that for 19, then approximately half that to 10, and then I half that to 5, and the 5 minute was the lowest time frame. I personally do not do that for a high time frame scalping. I want a default lowest set of time frames where I'm still trying to decide, will it be the 3 hours the highest time frame, which is 180 minutes, or will I use the 150 minute, which is 2.5 hours instead of 3 hours? Haven't quite decided on that yet. But again, and I could walk through on well, actually I just did walk through it. Because do you see a pink dot anywhere? This pink dot right here. That's when those conditions meet for this short that we opened here. That's when those conditions meet. When they do meet, we'll have a pink dot there saying close that short. We would have a pink dot there saying close that short. course, if we went to Phoenix in the 3 hour, let's do that. That's Ethereum. Here's the 3 hour. Red, man, that blue is way, way, way down there. That blue is way, way, way down there. Y'all know other things I've told you too. Y'all have heard me say many, 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 many times, those that, especially those of you who have followed me for a while, the red and then the blue both going below yellow level 50, you have potential for stage 1 expansion down. That doesn't mean you're going to get it in this 4 hour if something's still holding us back, let's say in the 8 hour. You see the green came up the very next candle. All right, but then it came down again. There's other things I could mention where the moment the energy turns down, that price action's coming down. Why? Is the red line above yellow level 50? No. So that's also further confirmation. Odds are extremely high this price is coming down where you open that short. All right. Not only that, the red, is turning down. The blue's already gone below yellow, a dashed white yellow line to indicate in between the white and yellow. That's where we were. We're about to go down from that. We're about to go down from halfway in between the white lower and yellow B-band basis. We're about to go down from that with this green going down. The energy's going down right here too. But you remember me telling you about stage 2 expansion down? We didn't see stage 1. It's like we skipped stage 1 and then jump right straight. Well, we start to see stage 1 right here because technically we did not begin stage 2 expansion down until this candle right here, when both the red and blue are right there going below white level 30, where we can get stage 2 expansion down. If they both go down below white aqua level 20, we're subject to get stage 3 expansion down. But just knowing that about the indicators as well, you like seeing that emotionally when you had opened this short here. You're seeing other things lining up in other time frames that I teach in regards to stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 expansion up, or stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 expansion down. Stage 1 up is red and blue both going above level 50, yellow level 50. Stage 2 up is they both go above white level 70. Stage 3 up, they both go above white aqua level 80, which is stage 3 down, white aqua level 20, going below that. The red and blue, that includes the green also going down at the time. Red's already below white level 30 here in the 6 hour. The blue is about to go below it. Think about it also, something else that I teach. This red line, does it look ready to go up above white level 30 anytime soon? No. In my opinion, this thing goes up right here. In my opinion, it's going to have a very, very hard time going above that white lower B band and closing above that white lower B band. It's going to have a hard time doing that because in this 6 hour, and that white lower B band is 1537, 1537 for Ethereum. And if it's going to turn up right here and potentially go towards that white lower B band, that's going to take a little while. We still have 3 hours, 18 minutes in the current candle. But yet that short would have still been open, but I just showed you other things. I showed you other things that you would be looking at to kind of give you comfort, you might say, as far as other things about the indicators. What I was sharing here on opening a short, but I prefer the 3 hour at present. Oops. 3 hour, 90 minute, 45 minute, 20 minute, 10 minute. There it is. Where I'm wanting to point out that short, you would actually open it up using these time frames, not having the 75 and then go down lower. Basically, I'm saying this: if no time frame higher than the 3-hour time frame, excuse me. If no time frame higher than the 6-hour time frame, the 6-hour and higher, if we do not have a yellow K line above level 80 when looking to open a short, if we do not have a yellow K line above level 80 to open a short, I'm going to assume that the 6-hour yellow K line then is above level 80 to open a short. If I have 6-hour, that's 3-hour. That's the first time frame of my 5 time frames I'm about to use. In other words, I made the 3-hour 90, 45, 20, and 10 the lowest set of time frames allowed to open a short when high time frame scalping. And it's as if I halved the 6-hour, pretending that the yellow K line is above level 80. Now, there's other details I could get into to explain it to you better so you understand better why I did this, but I'm not doing that here. All right, I will on the website in the educational videos. I'm not doing that here. All right, but here we have the green falling, less than 80 when falling, and the ARI is falling, less than 80 when falling. That's why we have a yellow dot right there. Same thing in the 90 minute. Same thing in this 45 minute, got the yellow dot. Same thing in the 20 minute, we got the yellow dot. Same thing right here in the 10 minute, we got the yellow dot where you would have opened a short. Oops, I accidentally moved that. Let me put that back. Where you would have opened a short and it would have still been open here for a while. For how long? Well, let's change. What was, whenever we open that short, the highest time frame in which the K line, the yellow K line, is below level 20. Well, let's go higher than the 3-hour to the 6-hour. And you see the yellow K line is below level 20. Let's go to the 8-hour. Right there at that yellow, this yellow vertical timeline, the yellow K line was below aqua level 20. It was below it in the 8-hour. It wasn't in the 12-hour right there at that yellow. Yeah, I told it to her. And the 12-hour was as well. Then we jumped up to the 24-hour. We're looking at the yellow now. In the 24-hour, that's right here. Now the yellow K line is below here. When I say we're looking at the yellow, we're looking at the yellow vertical timeline. So I'll go back to the 12-hour. That yellow vertical timeline, the yellow K line went below level 20 there. That was the highest time frame in which the yellow K line went below level 20. Let's cut that 12-hour in half to 6 hours. Remember, that's what we were doing here. Where I cut my 12-hour in half to 6-hour, then I'll cut my 6-hour in half to 3-hour, and that's what time frame this is, the 3-hour. And remember, I'd also place this yellow vertical timeline of where we would have opened the short, and that short would have still been open. Why? When you open that short right here, when looking at this 3-hour, the conditions to close that short, the green needs to be rising. Well, we see our green falling. So that definitely, when you open that short right there, you're not closing it yet. Next candle, green's still falling. It needs to be rising to close that short. Not only that, when it's rising, it needs to be above level 20 when it's rising. But we also see that the Phoenix ARI that was aqua and rising, and it was purple and falling. You know, so now the green and the green line and the ARI, this purple, they're both falling. All right, now they're both starting to turn up, but are either one above level 20? No. So this trade would still be open. This trade will still be open. I've seen sometimes where the ARI it goes up and it goes above level 20, but the green line does not go up above level 20. That candle. Then when it closes, then here comes the green line back down again, and here comes the ARI back down again. But when they were both going up, one of them may have met conditions to close the short position, but the green line, the other one, didn't go up high enough to close that short position. Then it ended up the very next candle here goes coming down again. Well, now you're glad you did not close that short position, that you still left it open. And my inputs are basically set up in a way to where it will tend to close the trade somewhere between the aqua and the white lower, tend to close a short somewhere between the aqua and white lower, or if we had expansion up, it tends to close the long somewhere between the white and aqua upper, based because of the inputs that I've chosen. I could change the inputs where it does not close a long until it gets down to around the basis. Well, I want to try to make as much gain as possible for a long when it goes up to try to help it close earlier. Adjust the inputs to suit your conditions. But you will also find that your inputs will be different in different groups of time frames. And you have to figure that out. Of course, that's what I've been doing. But yeah, that short would still be open. Now, where could the short go down to? I'm sure everybody's wondering for Ethereum. I know I like providing a little bit of education while also giving a little bit of analysis. That's to close long, that's to open long. But yeah, a short, we've already covered that, would have been opened here. This is the open long, and this is the close long. But one would have been opened here at around 1594.45. I was awakened by it, and I put a green vertical timeline there, and then I determined what time frame was the highest time frame in which the K line was above level 80. Then I cut that time frame in half, whatever it was, and then cut it in half again to get the time frame that I'd use to close that trade, which was the 30-minute. It was the 30-minute. And that long right here for high time frame scalping, that long where it opened along and it came back down and closed, it would have had a 0.18%, a little less than 0.2% loss. That's with no leverage. But 0.1, sometimes you're going to have a loss, especially on bear traps in this case. A bear trap before going down, or on, a bull trap before going down, or a bear trap before going up. But again, the idea behind setting my inputs the way that I did was to try to always close along, pretty close, as close as possible to that white upper B band. Especially if we do get some expansion, be prepared to close it at or around the white upper. This one started coming down pretty hard, pretty fast. That's why it wasn't right at or just a smidget below. The white lower is a little bit, a little bit below the white upper, not white lower B band, but the white upper. This started coming down pretty quick, and it would have closed about right here. But again, a little bit less than 0.2%, not even 0.5%, not even 1/4% as far as the loss on that particular trade. But as soon as you closed that long, guess what you did? You opened a short. You certainly did. And you would have made some profit on it. Closed around here. You would not have opened a long here, but you would have opened a short again, and it would still be open right now. You would have opened a short again, and it would still be open right now. Right now we're looking at it from the 30-minute time frame. Now let's see where it could be going down to. If someone had opened a short. Remember, we use the K line to determine what single time frame, or let me say it this way. We use the K line to help us determine what set of time frames we're going to use to open a long or a short. And we will also use the K line to help us determine what single time frame we're going to use to close that long or short. The red and blue lines, they also help us give us an idea of where the price action could be going to after we open a long or short. Did we use the blue line to open a long or a short? No, that's not what it's used for. It's used for other things, to give us an idea of where we could be going up to or where we could be going down to whenever we open that long or short. That's what it's used for. Actually, the red and blue both in combination with one another. So that's what they're used for. That's what they're helpful for. That's what we're going to do now. Where could we potentially be going down to on a short if it's still going down? All right, that's the immediate group. Let's go to the short-term group. We've already gone to the extreme with expansion on all these, so they're not giving me any help, none whatsoever, of where we could be going down to. Now I'm going to the near-term group, but let's see every time frame in this near-term group. Also, let me see what my inputs are here. Okay. 12 hour, 24 hour. Okay. We already knew the red, when it went below white level 70, we are at risk of coming down to the basis, but it ended up coming right back up again. If you were scalping using the short-term group, you would have caught that. You would have likely opened a long on that and opened a short right here as well, from here to here. But this wick here in the daily, you would have had 0.18 to 0.2% loss, let's say, at no leverage, at zero leverage, no leverage. But then you would have opened a short again. That would still be open right now. Red and blue went below yellow level 50 in the 12 hour. When they do that, as I mentioned earlier, that can create stage 1 expansion. We see visible sign of expansion of the badass B bands. They're opening up, expanding, and the price action is going down with that expansion. I'll say it again for those who may not have ever heard this before. In order for these B bands to be forced open, to open up, to expand, in this case expand down, the price has to come down and push against the aqua lower. In this case, the more it keeps coming down, pushing against the aqua lower, the B bands will keep opening up, and then they'll stay opened up. They'll stay open up. Like, well, I guarantee when it was down here, they were opened up pretty good, and that purple was probably on down about right here. But then it's come back up since the price has come back up. But we were getting stage 1 expansion down. The next 12-hour candle that's 3 hours away, that red and blue may be going below white level 30, which means we have a chance for stage 2 expansion down if that green is still going down the next 12-hour candle that begins 3 hours from now. All right, but let's look at other time frames to see that this expansion down, if we were to continue going down, where could we be going down to? The blue's already below white level 70 in the 2-day. The red, 15 hours from now, the red line, let's go full screen with the 2-day. The red line is on the verge, not the magenta right here, that's the D line of the stochastic RSI, but the red is about to go down below white, potentially below white level 70. The next, if they're both below white level 70, that will increase the odds over time of potentially coming down to the white aqua lower in the 2-day, but we're not going to draw conclusions on that just yet. Let's keep looking. Red and blue's rising there in the weekly. The red's above yellow level 50, and the price is currently just a smidget above the yellow B-band basis. The red in the 6-day is right at yellow level 50, and we see the price is right at yellow B-band basis. The red is just above yellow level 50 in the 5-day, but the price is just below the yellow B-band basis in the 5-day, so we are overextended down a little bit already in the 5-day, meaning the price is not colligated in harmony with the price mean. What's the price mean? The red line in Phoenix ascending. That red line just a little bit above yellow. That red line is right here. It's just a little bit above yellow level 50. But the price action is a little bit below the yellow level 50 that is synonymous with this yellow B-band basis. Now, is it possible to overextend down in the 4-day? We have a new 4-day candle beginning in 15 hours. Is it possible to overextend down to the white aqua lower? First of all, why am I saying overextend down? Red line is the price mean. It's saying the price action, fair market value at this time, is currently just below the white upper B-band because the red line is just below the white level 70. But yet the price has fallen down from that. It was above it, overextended up just a little. Now it's acting like it's wanting to overextend down, because normally without overextension down, if the price action were to come down, normally the red line needs to be on the verge of going down below yellow level 50. Like right here, the red line is on the verge because the next candle, it does go below it, and the price action, the next candle. Let me go and put a vertical timeline there to show you what I mean. Right there. The red line is not below yellow level 50 yet. It's just a little bit above yellow level 50. It's about right there. It does not go below yellow level 50 until the next candle. That's why when that red line's coming down like that, and that this will often fool you, that green line coming up like that. But the red line going down below yellow level 50 implies that we have increased odds of the price going down from yellow B-band basis if the price is about to go down below yellow level 50. Of course, you would look at lower time frames than this 4-day time frame to determine the odds of that occurring if you were using my system right there, the proper group of time frames, proper set of time frames. And I've been teaching how to determine what the proper set would be at any given time based by using the K line, the yellow K line. So as far as the red line present day going down, you're anticipating it going down below yellow level 50 to justify the price action going down below the yellow B-band basis for a sustained period of time. Right now the odds are not very good for the price action to go down like that for a sustained period of time because of where the red line is. Now, am I saying it's impossible for that to do that? No, I'm not saying that, because you do have on occasions just all of a sudden wham, an overextension down. Would you be using the 4-day time frame for your entry on that? No. That's why I try to encourage people to scalp, because if you scalp, you're able to catch the early stages of it going down. Excuse me. You're able to catch the early stages of it going down if you're using the scalping group Excuse me. You remember earlier in the stream, I told you I'm also creating sets of time, or not sets, groups of time frames that will have different inputs from this group, which will also, it will have different inputs from this group. They all will not have the same inputs as far as groups go. Will the time frames in each group have the same input? Yes, but it'd be about 4 different, possibly 5, but I'm kind of leaning on 4 different groups, so that when you catch that going down, if you want to catch it early, well, you need to be scalping. If you want to give yourself an opportunity, a chance to catch it early, because then if the next script or group that you're using with the conditions applying it, it also fires off, hey, let's open, we open up a scalp. Now this one, which we will call the small swing script, the small swing script. There's a difference between a small swing and a large swing. Where do those small swings usually occur? All right, the small swings, and let's go here for 2015 so it won't be as complex. The small swings tend to be your automatic rally, second test of support, simple rally, test of support, test, simple rally, spring. Those were small swings in the 3-day time frame. Each candle period of 3 days. This was a large swing, that sign of strength. This was a large swing, that sign of strength. This was a large swing, that sign of strength. This sign of strength, this sign of strength especially. Signs of strength, exponential reactions in distribution. Why am I calling that an exponential reaction in distribution when looking at this 3-day time frame? This says E-R-E. Oops. E dot R-E dot exponential reaction. Y'all see this wick, right? But where did it close? See this wick, right? But where did it close? Those were exponential reactions. Those were not sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness until it closes below preliminary supply range in that case. But those are what I call large swings, where you have your exponential reactions in distribution, or a sign of weakness. A sign of weakness in distribution. That's in distribution. What are your large swings, not small swings? That's your individual events within each phase here, most of the time in accumulation, and also the first phase of A and B, usually, especially here in phase A. Now B, we had an exponential reaction here. That was not a simple reaction. That was an exponential reaction, but that was not a sign of weakness. Why? We did not close substantially below this preliminary supply range before we went up with our buying climax. That's why. It's not considered a sign of weakness until we close below that. And we did not begin to do that until right here. But this distribution schematic was quite a bit more complex, and you would have also seen that this was a sign of weakness right here, where we then closed, because we go by the closing of the candles. And if you were to look at this in the 12-hour, you would have saw this as a sign of weakness in the 12-hour. It would have been much clearer to you. I'm in the 3-day time. Oh shit, y'all are not seeing shit. My bad. I hate it when I do that. My bad. All right, right here we had an exponential reaction in distribution. exponential reaction. That's a large swing. Sign of weakness, exponential reaction, sign of weakness, exponential reaction, those are large swings in distribution. Here's an exponential rally, not an exponential reaction, but an exponential rally in accumulation. That was not a sign of strength. If that was a sign of strength, can you have accumulation without a Wyckoff spring? Yes, but I'm telling you, this was a two-tiered, two-leveled accumulation schematic, where this was transition from phase B with our simple rally into phase C with our Wyckoff spring. This was phase C, where we then have our sign of strength, transitioning from phase C as in Charlie into phase D as in Delta with our sign of strength. It wasn't done here. That was not our sign of strength. It's just begun. It's not done yet. It didn't finish until up here. But again, signs of strength and accumulation, that's your large swings. Your events that occur a lot, in phase A, B, and C of accumulation, they may or may not have exponential reactions. Nowadays, we see a lot of exponential reactions in distribution and exponential rallies in accumulation. You see them quite often now, where these were just simple rally. It was not exponential, creating two tiers, two levels, like what we had here. But there is a difference between small swing and large swing. There is a difference. And again, the reason for bringing that up, if you open a short here, if you want to increase your odds of catching a small swing down, or a small swing high or swing low, a small swing, if you want to catch it early, you have a better odds of catching it early if you are also scalping. Same thing goes for a large swing, where you end up about to go up for the sign of strength in accumulation, or go down for a sign of weakness in distribution, just as an example for a large swing. If you want to catch that large swing early, you need to be using a group of time frames to catch the small swing. Well, if you want to catch that early, you need to be using a lower group of time frames, scalping group of time frames, if you want to catch it even earlier. The purpose of mentioning all that is if we have our groups know how to use the system, the method, where you have this group, you monitor for this, where you opened a short, let's say, and then you're about to get a signal to close it because of the time frames you're limiting yourself to for scalping. But now this signals has fired off over here for your near-term group that you are using for a small swing. So you execute your short there or long there, to whether you were in distribution or accumulation, depending on what event in distribution or accumulation for that small swing. But you may get a signal to close that small swing, but then again you may not get it, but yet here is a lot of time frames in the midterm group that's working together to provide a signal that there is a large swing now. All of them are firing off. Hey, large swing active, which means where you started out with scalp, transitioning into small swing, and now transitioning into large swing. That's just to help me provide more details. But when I say provide more details, let me go to Bitcoin again. Let me see what this is. 16 week. This needs to be the 8 week. 4 week, 4 day. That is correct. where I also explained earlier that I will also have a macro group where people may be wondering after we, like when looking at the 4 week, even for example, or for the 2 week, and we're doing all this sideways. Well, are we done? Are we going to go up to 100K? Well, if I had known then what I know now, right here I would have been saying that I believe we're probably beginning distribution. There won't be another leg up, another wave up, based on what we're seeing at this time where that yellow vertical timeline is. Knowing what I know now, as far as to help me provide macro analysis, where this 16-week time frame where the K line went above level 80, I cut that in half to the 8-week, 4-week, 2-week, 1-week, 4-day, where I have certain conditions where if they all line up, every single one of them fire off where we did at this yellow vertical timeline, we have a dot at each one of them, we would have known that, hey, this accumulation that we were in here, and we were wondering, is it going to leg up again? Well, now it's not looking like it will. Not after those signals firing off to open a short there for a long period of time. The odds of us legging up is not looking very good at all at that juncture right there. But again, I wish I knew then what I know now. Damn, I did it again, y'all. Where this yellow vertical timeline is. Where this yellow vertical timeline is. Right here in this 2-week. But it's in the same place in this 8-week, in this 16-week, in this 4-week. They're all in the same place. If I was to grab it and move it, I don't want to, but if I was to grab it and move it, you would see it move in every single time frame. But after all these fired off and the conditions met with the yellow dot on each one with this script that I have set up here, is this the actual script that will basically automate things for my signals? No, that's yet to be built. This script that I'm using here just helps me quickly identify my conditions when they are met. Is this script automatically combing through all the time frames, letting me know what's the highest time frame at any given time in which the K line is above level 80 or below level 20? No, this script ain't doing that. The script soon to come in the future with at least over 2,000, but could have over 3,500 lines of script. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let me get back to Ethereum, where I was talking about the subject of small swings and large swings. Let's go. We were at the near-term group. We were looking for B bands that have yet to expand, and since we're going down, usually you're looking down to the white aqua lower, like in this 4-day, the white aqua lower. Are the red and blue below white level 70? Yes, they are, according to some other rules that I have. Since the red and blue are below white level 70, that green comes down the next 4-day candle. And especially this ARI, the next 4-day candle that begins in about 14 and a half hours. Then the odds definitely increase to come down to the white aqua lower B bands that are currently at 1301 to 1210 currently. That's when looking at the 4-day. Now the red line here in the 3-day, let's go full screen with the 3-day. The red line is just above white level 70, and the price was above the white upper B band, but now it's falling down below the white upper, synonymous with the white level 70. So right now, I mean, could you say we're overextended down? Yes, we are. A little bit because the red's just above the white, but we see the green showing the price action and moves with the price action, showing the overextension down. The green coming down towards the yellow B-band basis, and the price action wicked down towards the yellow B-band basis, yellow level 50, yellow B-band basis. But it still may be a while yet. Could the next candle, the red, go below white level 70? Sure, it's possible. In this 3-day time frame, it is certainly possible. because it's like we're right here, the next candle right there, you see right there on this one, from there to there, and here's the price action already overextending down. Here's the yellow B-band basis, but the red is above the yellow level 50. But that candle, the price is below the white lower B-band. You know, that's obvious overextension down. You know, it was extension down in that case. Most certainly was. And we started getting expansion down. Visible sign of expansion right here, and the red and the blue had not even gone below yellow level 50 yet. Sometimes that happens. This is looking at it in the 3-day now. Would you be doing what I'm doing right here, showing you this stuff as far as deciding when you open a trade, or let's say open a short right here, or sell outright right there? No. You would be using the other methods or system that I was showing you to determine what set of time frames you would use to open a short or sell outright, or which set of time frames to open a long or buy outright. You wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now, looking at the red and blue lines. Right now I'm still trying to get an idea of ceiling of resistance and floor support, and I may have to go to the midterm group to find that. Let's see every time frame in the midterm group, which is the 8-day, 9-day, 10-day, 11-day, 12-day, 13, 14-day, which is 2 weeks right here. Yeah, the yellow B-band basis in the 12-day was definitely resistance, because the red line is not ready to go up above yellow level 50. Does that mean we cannot go up above it? No, but if we did go up above it, it's overextended up. If we did go above it, we would be overextended up. Here the red was not above yellow level 50, yet we went up to the white aqua upper. Well, and we wicked up there twice in the 8-day. The odds increase for us to do that when both the red and the blue are above white level 30. You know, that increases the odds to go up there, but does that mean that you're going to get expansion and keep going up? No, you got to get the red and blue above yellow level 50. We have about 14 and a half hours till the next 8-day candle. So as far as knowing exactly what we're going to do at this very moment in time, we don't know just yet when looking like at the 8-day, the weekly, the 6-day. That's another advantage of scalping. Because scalping allows yourself to give yourself a chance to actually be in the trade and potentially get into it early. I'm talking about, when I say the trade, I'm talking about a small swing or a large swing. Does that mean you can't make profits on your scalps? No. Most certainly can make profits on your scalps. Especially, you know you need to go and take profit if you did not get another signal in a higher group of time frames. That's why I was bringing that up as an example. If you were scalping and you got no signal yet of a small swing from your other group set of time frames where you apply conditions with different inputs, but you apply the same conditions but with different inputs in different groups of time frames, they haven't given you a signal yet saying that you're about to have a small swing. Well, then yes, it's most certainly time to close that short or that long based on the time frame that you know that you should use to close that short or long. Let's say you got the signal to close it, go and close it, especially if your other script for a small swing did not give you a signal letting you know to keep it open, to keep that long open, or to keep that short open. You know, if you want to do it like that too. And I'm going to be using something like that to let me know when to unlock my 6-hour limit on closing trades when scalping, to unlock it, to allow it to use the 12-hour and then maybe even the 24-hour to close the trade. There's several things I've been working out. We'll just say it that way. Let's keep looking to find out our ceiling of resistance and floor of support for just a moment. Red's above white, level 30. Price action's above white, lower B band. 12 days, 11 days, 3 days. We get the next 15. 8.5 days, we get the next 20-day candle. And that's the 15, of course. Man. I'm in the macro group, starting with 11-day, 22-day, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 days. You divide that by 7, that's 4 weeks, 4-week time frame. It's the highest time frame in this group. Then I have a super macro group. This is the macro. Then I have a super macro group where we use even higher time frames, all numbered in weeks. All numbered in weeks. Not days like you see some of these here. A BTC coming down to 14K level, and after that to 8 to 10K, meaning institutions allowing retail buyers to load themselves at cheap prices. Is there a chance for that? We'll look at that in just a minute. I'm still trying to get a grasp on if Ethereum continues going down. If it continues going down, where could it potentially go down to? Blue's still falling while that red is rising. And that red might go above white. Level 30, the next 24-day candle that begins in 14.5 hours. We get a new 24-day candle. It's just hard to say right now until we get the next daily candle, y'all. We're going to get a lot of new candles. The next daily candle, we're going to get a lot of new candles. New 24-day. We'll get a new 26-day in about 14.5 hours. I want to see us into the next daily before I even think about trying to give any kind of odds on us potentially still continuing down or whatnot. The main reason why I'm like that now is because whenever I trade, most of the time I'm using a set of 5 time frames to open a long or a short, and then 4 time frames that I'll have on my chart, but really it's just one of those time frames that I'm using to close that long or short. And I'm using different groups of time frames with different inputs. For scalping will also be soon. For small swing will also be soon. For large swing will also be soon. For long term and also soon be for macro term. Where I can kind of give an idea of where we may be. See, because there's other details I'm not going to go through in this YouTube live stream, but there's other details by using those different groups of time frames. They can kind of give me an idea of what. Let me show you what I mean by what. it can be where you get to the point where, number one, you know that you're in distribution. I gave you an example of that already, and whenever I said 50,600 and something, it was done. Bitcoin was done because we got a pretty good confirmation on the macro group that we're in distribution. We've transitioned from accumulation to distribution. Now, will this distribution continue? Well, I haven't gotten into that yet. Well, especially for Bitcoin, I was showing you those sets of time frames for Ethereum. But, will we transition from this distribution into accumulation? Also, if we don't, and I mentioned this in the private stream as well yesterday with premium subs, as far as if we don't get a sign of weakness in phase E, technically, as far as Wyckoff method on the macro, this could indicate, if we don't get a sign of weakness in phase E, this could indicate a historical wave to the upside. It would have meant all of this was a backup last point of support event in phase D of accumulation. Here is our phase A, all of this are phase B, all of this are phase C, our sign of strength, all of this, our backup last point of support, right? All of this, our backup last point of support. Just a moment. All of that, all of this, our backup last point of support, if we do not get a sign of weakness in phase E. We had a sign of weakness in phase D, up thrust, higher low, up thrust, last point of supply. Now coming back down with what appear to be multiple last point of supply events that usually are the prelude, let's say, to another sign of weakness again. And usually, majority of the time, most often, your accumulation and distribution schematics will go through from their start all the way to their end. From phase A, the first event in phase A, like for distribution, preliminary supply, that's the first event. Then up with a buying climax, back down with an automatic reaction, back up with the second test of supply. That was phase A. But starting out with the first event in phase A all the way through the last event in phase E. They usually always go from their start in phase A to their finish in phase E. If, like in this case, distribution, we do not get a phase E sign of weakness in phase E, because we haven't seen one yet, this will be very similar to an Elliott wave, historical wave. And usually your wave 3 and wave 5 are your biggest waves, historical waves. And that could very well end up being the case here as far as applying historical waves using Wyckoff method. How do we identify an historical wave that's about to occur? If we do not get a sign of weakness in phase E in distribution, if we don't get it and we start going up, eventually it's going to get to a point where it's going to blow people's minds. It could get crazy, y'all. If we go into a major historical wave here because we did not have a sign of weakness in phase E, if we didn't have that and it ended up starting to go up, it's going to get crazy, y'all. I mean real crazy. It's going to blow a lot of people's minds. But do we know whether or not that's going to occur? No. We do not know what we do not know until we know it. And we're waiting. We're watching in that regard. Now, some people may say, well, you're not telling me how to trade this. Actually, I have been.
for Ethereum, and I was showing you, giving you an example, like for opening a short, it would be in the reverse for opening a long. And I also mentioned that it would be better to scalp using those same conditions that you would use on the macro. I'd use those same conditions on the short-term group as I would for small swings in the near-term group, as I would for large swings in the mid-term group. But it's not quite that simple as far as the groups, y'all. Let me go and say that. I'm not going to explain that here. I want to try to provide more analysis, a mix of analysis and education. Right now, it's like I'm just doing mostly education. I want to provide a little bit of analysis here at the moment. Let's look at Bitcoin here for a moment. I'm not prepared to basically say where we could be going down to for Ethereum if we do continue down. Note, I said if we do continue down. Right now we're still going down. Do you remember what time frame I said we would be using to close this short for Ethereum? Because when you opened it, that green needs to be rising, and it needs to be rising above level 20. This ARI, this now purple again, falling, it needs to be rising. And when rising, it needs to be rising above level 20, along with the green. You know, we don't have that condition yet. We don't have that condition yet. If it were to occur, it's going to end up where it closes you. It provides a signal to close the trade for a short, usually around the white lower B band. Here's the thing though. It's designed, set up in a way where you're trying to catch expansion, whether it be expansion down or expansion up, so that as you get expansion, like in this case, the more expansion up, you will find when it finally gives you a signal to close a trade, it's usually going to be right around proximity of the white upper for closing a long, or be in proximity to around the white lower for closing a short. Let me provide a better example, like this right here. If you may have opened a short maybe just below the white upper, could have been around the basis. Well, it kept expanding. You would have found out that you probably would have closed that short that you opened either here or here. You would have closed it right around in here, probably just a little bit above that white lower B band. The way that I have it set up now, mainly the inputs, the way I have the inputs set up now. And like that one for a short, if you opened it at the basis and you closed it here, that's about 2.5% roughly, but you might have opened it just below the white upper B band more than likely. That's what I usually see in most cases with the inputs on the gamma that way I have it set now. That's probably what would have likely occurred, where you would have had, instead of in the realm of 2.5%, may have been about 3% at no leverage. You know, 3% gain with no leverage on that one. But again, what I'm trying to convey here is the way the system is set up is designed so that if you open a long, most of the time it's going to try to close you right around the white upper. If you open a short, it's going to close you around the white lower. But do you ever know from this moment right here, when you open this long, yeah, it's this expansion, it's going to stop about 20 candles, 23 candles from now. Over here, right here, you don't know that you're going to close it there. You don't know it until you get there. So it's kind of like you're cheering it on, say, yeah, keep expanding, keep having that expansion up. And the red line keeps rising. I know this is Phoenix ascending, but then it's not. It doesn't have every line of Phoenix ascending, and like you don't see the white energy either. Only have the lines here that are necessary for opening and closing. That's it. I don't have the lines here to let me know if I can go up from the white upper, let's say. If the white upper can hold support, if the aqua upper can hold support, yes it can. If the red line gets above level 90, and level 90 is about right there, y'all. Here's level 80. Look how long the red line stayed above level 90 from here all the way to here. Well, that's the aqua upper B band, level 90. That's the reason why in Phoenix Ascending I have level 90 aqua. See, you got support there at the aqua upper B band. Then when it looks like the red is about to fall, it's on the verge of falling below aqua level 90, and you see the price action going below the aqua upper B band, kind of sideways, but still it's going down from the aqua upper B band in that case. But also, that's another reason why I want that red line less than 90 for a short. Level 90 is about right here. You know, I want that red line less than level 90 before I open a short, where we go down from this white upper towards the basis, potentially to the white aqua lower, especially when both the red and the blue that's not here. If the blue line was here, you probably would have saw it was going below white level 70 here. Now the red and the blue are below white level 70, which right there would have increased the odds to come down to the white aqua lower. And again, the red and blue are just used for location, where you are at the moment, and what odds do you have of going down to the yellow B-band basis or through the basis to the white aqua lower. Also, the red and blue help us know when we have increased odds of going up from the white lower to the B-band basis, or continue higher up to the white aqua upper B-bands. Also, the red and blue let us know when we do go up to the white aqua upper, will it continue going up by getting expansion? And we know how we can get stage 1 expansion up, stage 2 expansion up, stage 3 expansion up, etc., etc. Same thing for down. If it was going down from the basis to the white aqua lower, we can also get an idea if it can keep pushing against that aqua lower B-band, making the B-bands expand, open up, because of the red and blue, for instance, both at that time going below yellow level 50. That means we also know that that's an increase in volume right there, which also means we know when we can, when we have high odds of high volume approaching, because that red and blue are both approaching, going below level 50 or going above level 50 at the same time. The red may already be above yellow level 50, but the blue is not. But the blue is on the verge of going above it now. And let's say the price action is already at the white aqua upper, because the red was already above yellow level 50 going up. Once the blue gets above yellow level 50, now we have a chance not just to push against the white aqua upper, but we also have for expansion up increased volume, volatility. And you would know that from Phoenix, that increased volume or volatility is approaching again, because red and blue going above level 50 or red and blue going below level 50 for increased volume, selling pressure. In that case, you know when it's has high odds of approaching. We're about to have some increased volume approaching, y'all. How do you know that? Because it looks like the B-bands are about to expand. How do you know that? Well, that's from the red and blue line, both going above level 50 or below level 50. But hey, that's stage 1 expansion. Stage 2 is red and blue going below white level 70, which is what they did here. I know I don't have white level 70 on here, and I don't have the blue line on here. I do have the red line, but we were in stage 2 expansion down right here for Ethereum. But you don't really see me on TradingView very often here lately, and I'm still not going to be, especially providing signals right now, because also too, if I'm trading, I'd rather day trade, and if I was day trading, that obviously means I'm scalping. Now I don't want to be posting stuff on TradingView and all for signals going down or up. That's what my website's going to be for. Use TradingView a bit for education, mainly for education. And marketing. Let's go back to Bitcoin now. And while we're at Bitcoin, this was my macro. People were wondering if we could go down. So here's what we need to do. This is my macro for OM is open macro short. Well, let's copy that. Make a copy. Open S short. Open scalp short for BTC. Making a copy. Of course, when scalping, we're not going to be using the 16-week, 8-week, 4-week when scalping. All right, so let's get our highest time frame right here. Remember, the only condition I have for this one in the bottom right hand corner is the K line. That's it. So I'm going to start looking at my highest time frame for scalping, which I still haven't made up my mind yet if it's going to be 12 hour, 24 hour, possibly the 2-day. Because I've been changing. Once I find a balance on my inputs, that's going to help me determine what the maximum day will be, the maximum time frame will be in the scalping group. But let's just go with the 12 hour for now. If we've opened a short, y'all already know the 3 hour, no, excuse me, that's for Ethereum, that the 3 hour time frame is used to close that short. Why? Why the 3 hour? Because the K line in the 12 hour was below level 20. We have the 12 hour, that gets 6 hour. We have the 6 hour, that gets 3 hour. We're using the 3 hour time frame to close a short for Ethereum. Well, Bitcoin, its yellow K line is below level 20. Let me make sure my inputs. Just a moment. And let me do this. Now let's apply that to every single chart. When I say apply that to every single chart, I don't have a K-line condition here. These are actual conditions for opening a position, whether it be, well, in this case it would be to open a short. But for this one over here, in the bottom right hand corner, let's reset that to defaults, which is nothing. Nothing selected. I want to know to level the K line. I want to make sure that the level of that K line is greater than, in this case, to close a short, I need the green, excuse me. That needs to be less than 20 for the K line. And I need it falling. And we have a green dot there. In that this yellow K line, it is falling and it's less than level 20 when falling. That is the highest time frame at present that we see the yellow K line for scalping now. For scalping, that is the highest time frame for scalping in which we see the yellow K line below level 20. Hold on a second. Well, that doesn't matter. The gamma doesn't matter here because all I'm measuring is the yellow K line. That's it. And we got a green dot there. It's meeting requirements. What requirement? That the yellow K line is below level 20 because you opened a short. Now when you open your short, when do I close the short? Well, remember I said short, look at it this way. You're going from red level 80 down to aqua level 20 when you're shorting. So obviously on that short, when you want to close it, then you're thinking in mind going up from 20 back towards 80. That's why I'm saying what's the highest time frame in which the K line is below level 20 going down for the short for when going up from that to close that short. But would I use the 12-hour time frame to close this short when scalping? No. That's why we're going to be cutting in half twice and see if conditions are met in the lowest time frame that we got to when we halved twice. Right, but the 12-hour K line's below level 20. What about the 24-hour? No, it's not. It's currently at level 25. The next 24-hour candle, though, yeah, that K line can be below level 20. The next 24-hour candle, but right now, 12-hour K line's below level 20. That's the. Actually, that's. Did I say open short? Excuse me. Shit. Pardon my English. Having a brain fart. When opening a short, I need the green line greater than 80 because I'm going down. So whatever time frame is the highest time frame in which the K line is above level 80, it needs to be rising at that point. My bad, because I remember this chart, I told it open short, open scalp short. I didn't say close scalp short. In that case, the K line would need to be below level 20, where you're closing a short by going up from 20, to close a short. Right now, on a short, you're hoping to go down from 80 to 20. So I need the K line up here at 80. Then what time frame is the highest time frame at this point? Right here. Well, let's put a yellow vertical timeline there. Where the K line is still above level 80. That's the 12-hour. What about the 24-hour? Yep, it's above level 80 right there. What about the 2-day? Yep, it was above level 80. But cut 2-day in half to 12-hour. Cut 12-hour in half to 6-hour. 6-hour. Excuse me. 2-day. So let's go back to 2-day. And I doubt very seriously that's going to be my limit. I said let's use the 12-hour, so we're going to keep it the 12-hour. 6-hour, I cut 12-hour where my only requirement was K line above level 80. I know I went up to the 2-day where the K line was above level 80, but I remember I told myself for now, for scalping, I'm going to limit to the 12-hour. For now. We half the 12-hour to 6-hour. Now let's half that 6-hour to 3-hour. Let's half that 3-hour to 90-minute. Let's half that 90-minute to 45-minute. Let's half that 45-minute to approximately, I know it's 22 and a half, but let's just tell it 20. That's going to be one of my time frames in the script. I'm not doing exact on everything, because I'm limited to the number of time frames I can use in the script for security calls. Maximum of 40. So basically a maximum of 40 time frames. All right. The 12-hour is the highest at present. I'm allowing it to go. Allowing what to go? The yellow K line above level 80 to open a short. But I'm not using the 12-hour to open that short. I cut that 12-hour in half to the 6-hour that I would use, to the 3-hour that I would use, to the 90-minute I would use, to the 45-minute that I would use. Right there. We see that blue vertical timeline. And to the 20-minute that I would use. There's that blue vertical timeline right there. Now, the K line, I'm going to go and change that to 24 hours so that y'all see that that's there. If the 24-hour K line is right there. The 24-hour K line. When I say it's right there, you see a green dot, meaning the K line is above level 80. But even though I see that, I'm to assume that the 12-hour is. I cut that in half. Basically, I'm limiting myself to the 6-hour time frame being the highest time frame allowed at present during my testing, because like I said, basically I'm down to the inputs. I'm finding a balance on the inputs, and what I decide on that balance on those inputs is also going to decide what's the maximum time frame I use for opening, what's the maximum time frame I use for closing, longs and shorts. So if the 24-hour conditions were met on the K line, I'm to assume the 12-hour did. I cut that in half to the 6-hour, because that's the highest time frame I allow it to use, is the 6-hour. Allow it to use for what? Where I need to see the green falling and less than 80 when falling. I also need to see the ARI falling and less than 80 when falling. Do we have a yellow dot? No. Therefore, both of those conditions are not met. Now right here, the ARI might have went below level 80 at some point, especially if we had a wick here, but the green was rising here. It wasn't falling. We need both of them falling. We need the green falling and the ARI falling at the same time, and they both need to be below level 80 when they are falling at the same time. In this case right here, they're not. The green's rising. It's not falling. The next candle, however, the 6-hour, we finally got it. The condition is there, and you see our blue vertical timeline is still there. Let me move this. Y'all see that blue vertical timeline moves everywhere in every time frame. So I'm putting it back here in the 6-hour, because that's the maximum time frame I'm allowing at present for a scalp. Now let's see if the planets align. Also, I cut the 6-hour in half to the 3-hour. Yeah, we got a yellow dot. Let's go to the 90-minute. Do we have a yellow dot? Nope. The next closest one will be right here. Now we need to go back to the 6-hour. Do we have a yellow dot? Yes. Meaning the green's falling, less than 80 when falling, and the ARI is falling, and less than 80 when falling. That's why we have a dot there. Same thing here in the 3-hour. And now we do in the 90-minute. Do we have it here in the 45-minute? Yes, we do. What about the 20-minute? Yes, we do. We have a dot all the way across there where you would have opened a short for Bitcoin. Let's go and just get a percentage thing here, and I'll tell you what, instead of a percentage thing, let's do it this way. Let's put a horizontal ray for the price. Would have been on this 20-minute candle. Let's just put it at the close of that 20-minute candle. We put it at the close, and as far as the color goes, well, no, I don't want that. Let's make it a little bit brighter magenta than that. All right. And we see it on every chart because I have this sink over here to the far left any drawing that I put on there puts it on all the charts because it's synced. All right, but that's about where it would have opened it at that horizontal ray. We know that we wouldn't have used this time frame. We would have used this one because that's basically where all those conditions would have met. And I told you I have it set up as far as the inputs. Let me make sure. Yeah, it is. I have it set up for scalping a certain input, especially for the gamma, where it's usually going to open a short or close a long position, where if you had a long and then close it, it's going to close a long or open a short going down right around the white upper B band, especially if there was expansion for a long, then close it there. Well, you hope it expands a lot, knowing that you're likely going to close it at the white upper B band, that long. Right? When you open a short, if you're already above the white upper B band, most of the time you're going to be opening a short either just above it or just below it, coming down. All right, but that's where we would have opened it. Now, when we opened it there, when all these planets aligned here, 6 hour being our highest time frame, when we opened it, now we must ask ourselves, once we open this short, what's the highest time frame that we're going to use to close this short at present, at this specific time, at this particular time? What time was this? This was 1800 hours on November 6th. All right, let me do this. All right, so that was open short. Excuse me, that was closed short. Here is open scalp long. Open scalp long. And I know when opening a long, that would be similar conditions to closing a short. That's why I'm going to make a copy of this chart. That's open scalp long, excuse me, close scalp short is the copy, and then the title, the new title for this one. And it needs, oh shoot, yeah, it needs to be 4 time frames for close, scalp, short. I need to have 4 time frames. I like 4. Really all you need is 3, but I like 4. So C for close, S for scalp, short, close scalp, short. Where's my open scalp short? I see that is open macro short, open scalp short. So I want to move this to the right. That's open macro, so I need to go one more. Right there. Right, that's it. So open scalp short, it was at 1800 hours on November 6th. 1800 hours on November 6th in the 20-minute time frame. 1800 hours, November 6th. All right, let's find 1800 hours on the 6th. That's right there. All right, let's save that where we open that short. We should also see that right here, this blue vertical timeline here, this blue vertical timeline here, this blue vertical timeline here, this right here in the 20-minute. But I want to know what's the highest time frame at present in which the K line is below level 20. Remember, we open a short where we go down from 80 heading towards 20. hopefully, that'd be a good thing if you open a short, because that means there's a chance it may have went down a pretty good piece, especially the higher the time frame that you're in. All right, but we need to know the highest time frame in which the K line is below level 20 after opening that short. Let's go to 30-minute time frame for a moment. Let's go full screen. I want to look at the 1 hour, 2 hour. In the 2 hour, the K line is below level 20. In the 2 hour, it is below level 20. 3 hour, K line's below level 20. Yellow K line's below level 20. In the 3 hour, at that blue vertical timeline. Let's go to the 4 hour. The K line is not below level 20 at that blue vertical timeline. It gets below level 20 the next 4 hour candle. But is it right now? Right there? No. And what time did the next 4 hour candle? At 2000 hours. So we opened the short at 1800 hours. 2 hours later, in this 4 hour candle, 2 hours later, the next 4 hour candle, that will begin 2 hours later. No, that can't be right. That's 1600 hours. But we know in this 4 hour candle that began at 1600 hours, all the conditions met from the 20 minute all the way to the 6 hour, all the conditions met at 1800 hours during that 4 hour candle. I'm just going to make sure that the 5 hour is not down there. It's not. Make sure the 6 hour K line is not below level 20 at the blue vertical timeline. It's not. So I think the max, it was not the 4 hour, it was the 3 hour in which the K line was below level 20. Go back to the 4 hour to make sure. It was close, but not quite. So 3 hour. 4 hour was 240. 3 hours 180. I know I have another time frame in between those. Just a moment. I know you can't hear me very well because I'm looking at my notepad. I have a 210. So let me check the 210 minute time frame. Yes, the K line is below level 20 in the 210. Okay. I'm going to put the 210 right here where the K line is below level 20. Not only that, let's do this. Let's go to settings. Actually, I don't need that here. I'm not going to worry with that here. Not yet. I'm not going to get that detailed yet. As far as having my charts prepared for my monitoring in the future, I'm not going to worry with that just yet. I'm getting the B bands too, where you can kind of get an idea of what's going on with the B bands. Alright, so the 210 minute was the highest time frame in which the yellow K line was below level 20. When we opened this short at this vertical timeline in the 20 minute time frame, even though that's the 210 minute time frame, where this short was open, we have 210, that's 105. Now let's half 105, not exactly, but close. Let's use the 50 minute. Because the 50 minutes is going to be the time frame we use to close that short. Hold just a minute. I got to pee real quick. Be right back. that coffee and tea was running through me. Alright, so the 50-minute is the time frame at present that you would have been using to close that short. I normally like yellow as my color for opening a short, and I like magenta for the color that I use to close that short. Just a moment of taking a swig of tea. All right. Now the conditions to close. Greater than 20 and rising. Red greater than 20. No, I don't want it rising. And the ARI greater than 20 and rising. .36. .36. Let me make sure that was the time frame I was in. Let me click that. Yep, 3.6 and 3.6. All right, let's make all of them like that. Remember 210, highest time frame in which the yellow K line was below level 20 for this short that was opened at this yellow vertical timeline. And we have 210 to be 105. We have 105 to get approximately half at 50. We will be using the 50-minute time frame to close this position. And what's the conditions to close? Need this green line greater than 20 and rising. So it needs to be rising and greater than 20 when rising. The red line just needs to be greater than 10, y'all. Shoot. And no direction. Let me go and hit enter for that. And the ARI needs to be rising and greater than 20 when rising. Alright, we got that. Now let me hit apply to all again because I had it wrong on the red line. Alright, so for closing, that's what I need in the 50-minute at present. Think about it now. When you open the short, using different time frames than this 50-minute now. When you open this short, now you're using the 50-minute to decide when to close that short. What closes it? That green has to be rising, greater than 20 when rising. So it needs to be rising. It wasn't, it was falling. Also, the ARI needs to be rising and greater than 20 when rising. It's not, it's falling right here. Here the green rose and above level 20. Did the ARI rise above level 20 as well? No. So that short would still be open. Even when we're right here, when I put this magenta vertical timeline here, yes, the green went above level 20. Did the magenta go above, or when I say magenta, it's actually magenta right here when going down, but when the ARI was going up, it did not make it above level 20. That's why you do not see a yellow dot here. You don't see a yellow dot there. It's actually saying that did not occur until right here, where we finally had both the green rising and the ARI rising, and when the green was rising, right here, it was above level 20. And when the ARI was rising, it was above level 20. Because all in here, when the green was rising and above level 20 was the ARI. No, the ARI was staying below level 20 all through here. But I'm just going to stop here for a moment. I'm not taking it all the way to here just yet. Why? Because, like right here, let's go and put it right here when this green first rose. But the ARI did not go above level 20 here. I'm just curious if the 210 minute is still the highest time frame in which the yellow K line is below level 20. Because if we have a higher time frame than the 210 minute with the yellow K line below level 20, we're going to be using a higher time frame to close this short. Alright, so let's go back to 210, the 210 minute. At the yellow vertical timeline, when we open that short, the 210 minute, the yellow K line was the highest time frame in which the K line was below level 20. Let's go from 210 minute to 240 minutes, which is 4 hours. 210 minute is 3.5 hours. So we went from 3.5 to 4 hours right now. And you see the yellow K line is below level 20. The K line is in the 4 hour. Let's see if the 5 hour is. I'm going to have to put my crosshair here while I'm looking over here. Alright, so put my crosshair here. $19.21 it says. Excuse me. The last number is the ARI. They're both yellow. They're both yellow. The last one is the ARI. The first one is the K line. I just know that. So the first one, yellow number, the K line is 20.56, and that's not less than 20 in the 5 hour. But let's just check the 6 hour just in case. No, it's not. So it was the 4 hour. 4 hours the highest time frame at this purple vertical timeline. The purple, remember we opened the short at the yellow. Then we ended up going all the way to the 50 minute to see about closing that short. And right now at this magenta vertical timeline, no conditions in that 50 minute appeared to open, or excuse me, to close that short. But it may be that we do not need to keep using that 15 minute to close that short, because now the K line in a higher time frame than the 210 minute has gone below level 20. And it ended up being the 4 hour that we will cut in half to 2 hour. Then we will cut 2 hour in half to 1 hour, which is 60 minutes. We're no longer using the 50 minute time frame to close this short. Where was the short open? Right here at the yellow vertical timeline. We're no longer using the 50 minute. Now we're using the 60 minute to close this short. What do we need to see in the 60 minute? We need the green rising and rising above level 20, but we also need this ARI, this jagged right here. We need this ARI rising and above level 20 while rising. You know that did not occur until right here where you see that dot. Because even here, when the ARI got above level 20 and rising, was the green also rising? Right there? No, the green was falling, not rising with the ARI. It was falling. The ARI is still rising, but the green's still falling. Green's still falling. Green needs to be rising. Now the green's rising. Now the green's rising, and the ARI is rising. That's why we got a dot there. That's why we got a dot there. So if you were using the 1 hour, 60 minute to close that short, you're basically to there now. But we were using the 1 hour because the K line in the 4 hour was below level 20. Well, by this time, what about that 6 hour? You see that magenta vertical timeline? The 6 hour K line is below level 20. Well, the absolute highest I'm going right now is 12 hour, y'all. I go to 12 hour. The K line in the 12 hour is not below level 20 at this magenta. At that magenta vertical timeline, it's not below it. It doesn't go below it until the next as far as the 12-hour goes. But let me check the 8-hour. This magenta vertical timeline, the yellow K line is not below level 20. It does not get below level 20 until the next 8-hour candle. So yes, it is the 6-hour. K line is the lowest. Let's cut 6 hours in half. That's 3 hours. Let's cut 3 hours in half. That's 90 minutes. So we went from the 50-minute, then to the 60-minute. Now we're to the 90-minute. Let's change it to 90-minute. We're using the 90-minute time frame to close this short that was opened up here now. It was opened up here. I'm walking us all the way through to present day. That's where I'm leading us up to. But now we've made it to the 90-minute. The 90-minute. Well, it just so happens in this 90-minute, don't we have a dot right here? We certainly do. You would have closed that short here. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're staying strict, keeping strict adherence to your rules. You're scalping. If you get a signal to close it, and I have it set up where most of the time it's going to close it within proximity, it'll close a short within proximity of the white lower B band majority of the time. That's where it's going to end up closing. That's about a 2.25% drop for Bitcoin right there. That's with no leverage, remind you. 2.25% gain here if you had no leverage. If you sold outright and then bought outright, let's say. But when I say bought outright, I wouldn't necessarily buy outright until your group of charts that you use to open a long or buy outright, where the planets align. You get a signal in all 5 time frames that you use to open a long or buy outright. Don't assume that whenever you close a short, you immediately open a long. No, we don't. Conditions need to be right to open a long. More than likely, we'll see as we walk through this. But right now, you would have, with no leverage, about 2.25% gain right here with no leverage on that trade right there. Now that you closed a short here, if you were to open another short, maybe you're wondering, would you have opened a long here? I'm not going to get that detailed into this right now. I'm not. Do I get that detailed with my premium subscribers? Yes. Where I walk through everything from the short to did we open a long? If so, where did we close it? And also, if we did open a long and then we closed it with little to no loss, at the same time when we closed that long with little or no loss, did we also open a short? And it may have turned out, yes, we did. Did we end up closing that short when it came back up? Yes, it did, and we only made about 0.25% or 0.5% or something. We closed it. Well, did we open a long here? No, we didn't. But did we open a short when it started coming down here? Yes, we did. That I was covering yesterday, but I'm just going to cover open the short again. All right, we opened a short here and we closed a short. When would conditions arise again to open a short again? Well, what's the highest time frame in which the K line is above level 80, where for a short you're going down from 80 to 20 for the short? You want to open a short, so you find the highest time frame in which the yellow K line is above level 80 for that short down from 80 to 20. And this is open short. No, this is closed short conditions. Let me go to open short. By the way, we closed that short using the 90-minute time frame at 1500 hours. The 90-minute time frame is right here. Did I say 1500 hours? I believe I did. Yeah, right here in purple. And let's change this one to yellow. I like my shorts where I open my shorts yellow, magenta where I close them, and it's about 2.25% with no leverage. Now, when would we have opened a short again? Well, my conditions to open a short, I need the green falling and less than 80 when falling. I need the red less than 90. No specification on falling. I just need the level less than 90. That's it for the red line. The ARI, it needs to be falling and less than 80 when falling. And I do have my gamma correct. And I know that's correct because I see yellow dots in all of these except for this one. Why not this one? Because this one is not used for actual opening conditions to open a short. I use this one here to determine what's the highest time frame in which the K line is above level 20. That's what I use it for when opening a short. Well, we see on this same candle where we close this same daily candle where we closed this short. We opened a short here, we closed it here during this daily candle. Do we have a green dot on that magenta vertical timeline? No, we do not. We have one here, but not here, because the K line at this juncture where we closed this short that we opened here and closed here, the K line is no longer above level 80 there in the 24 hour. What about the 12 hour? Probably not. It's not. We're looking for a green dot, y'all. A green dot right here at this magenta vertical timeline. We're looking for a green dot. Went from the 12 hour now to the 8 hour. We do not have a green dot. I'm going to the 6 hour. We do not have a green dot on this magenta vertical timeline. That's what we're still waiting on. What does that mean? The K line is above level 80 and rising. That's what we're looking for. That's what's going to give us a green dot. All right, we're in the 6 hour. Let's go to 5 hour. Oops, 5 hour. No dot. Let's go to 4 hour. No dot at the magenta vertical timeline. Let's go to the 3 hour. No dot at the magenta vertical timeline, and that's my max. That's it. I'm not going any lower than that. The 3 hour, half that, 90 minute, half that, 45 minute, half that, 20 minute, half that, 10 minute. That's my default lowest set of time frames when opening. Let's go and just change that to 6 hour. I know we did not get a green dot to say that the yellow K line is above level 80. In fact, you're going to have to get to a very low time frame before you might see the yellow K line above level 80 to go down from 80. Seeing how we're not getting that, my 3 hour was cut off. So let's put that 3 hour right here. Let's put the 90 minute right here. Let's put the 45 minute right here. I keep cutting them in half in case you're wondering where these time frames are coming from. Let's cut 45 minute in half. I know that's 22 and a half minutes, but let's just say 20. That's close enough. And let's cut 20 in half to 10 minutes. All right, we have our magenta vertical timeline, magenta vertical timeline, magenta vertical timeline, where we closed a short previously. Now, as far as opening a short again, we need a yellow, we need a yellow dot down here at the bottom, but what does it mean? It means the green is falling, less than 20 when falling. The ARI is falling, and less than 80 when falling. The green's falling, less than 80 when falling. It is. The ARI is falling, and less than 80 when falling. It is. They're both falling at that point, and they're well below level 80 while falling. Right, that was right here in this 3 hour for opening a short again. Let's put a yellow vertical timeline there. We opened a short here and we closed it here for about 2.25% gain with no leverage. Now we open another short right here again. Once it's opened right here, we opened a short from 80 to 20. Now we need a K line that's below level 20 about to go up to close that short. That's why now, let's go back to the closing short script. And by the way, where was that short opened? In the 10-minute. That was at 2100 hours on the 7th. 2100 hours on the 7th. 2100 hours right there in this 90-minute time frame. But let's go to the 10-minute time frame, because that's how low of a time frame we used. Of the 5 time frames, that was the lowest, and that's at 2100 hours where we opened another short. All right, once we opened a short there, what's the highest time frame in which the K line is below level 20? Let's go and change this back to 1 hour. All right, what's the highest time frame in which this yellow K line is below level 20? All right, we just opened a short, but let's go to 3 hour. The K line's below level 20 at this yellow vertical timeline. That's in the 3 hour. Let's look at the 6 hour. And we see the yellow K line is definitely well below level 20 in the 6 hour. What about the 8 hour? Yes, the yellow K line's below level 20. What about the 12 hour now? I jumped from the 8 hour to the 12 hour in my list of time frames. At that yellow vertical timeline, the K line is not below level 20. It's not in the 12 hour. But in the 8 hour, it is. Yellow K line is below level 20. That means we cut the 8 hour in half to 4 hour, then cut the 4 hour in half to 2 hour, which means we will use the 2 hour time frame to close the trade. So let's go to the 2 hour. What are the conditions that we need to see to close this trade in the 2 hour? I need the green rising, and it's above 20, level 20 when rising. I also need the ARI rising and greater than 20 when it's rising. Well, right now when we open that short, that ARI is falling. It's not rising. That green's falling. It's not rising. Finally, we got a green rising here, green line, but is the ARI rising right here? Do we have a big wick up here where it could have briefly closed that short that you opened here? No, we don't see a big wick above it. So, because sometimes you will see a wick above it, but then it closed right here. Well, I guarantee you, if you were to saw that, more than likely your short that you opened here, you closed it in that wick around the white lower B band. But we don't see a big wick, so I'm quite certain that that short was still open. Even though the green was rising, that ARI is still falling. You need them both rising at the same time to close that short. They're both still falling. We need them rising. And when rising, they need to be above level 20. We finally got the green rising and it's above level 20, but is the ARI rising? No, the ARI is stuck down here on level 0.00. It's not rising and above level 20 while rising. But hey, let's do this. Let's put a magenta vertical timeline there at the moment because we're looking to close, and I use a magenta vertical timeline to identify where a short was closed. I use a yellow to mark where a short was opened. All right, the reason I'm putting this magenta vertical timeline here is this. We probably should not still be using the 2 hour time frame to close this trade. Why? Because I was using the 2 hour starting from here. Well, going from here all the way down, instead of the 8 hour, remember that I have to get the 4 hour to then have to get the 2 hour that I'm in right now, using the 2 hour to close the trade. Well, what if the 12 hour now? Let's go to the 12 hour. This magenta vertical timeline, y'all see the yellow K line went below level 20. And that's as high as I'm going right now, is the 12 hour. Let's cut 12 hours in half. That's 6 hours. Hold on. I just want to test something while I'm here. Let's go to 24 hour. The K line is not below level 20. So seeing how it didn't go below level 20, it can't be part of my conditions to test anyway to see if I may want to go above 12 hour to 24 hour. Okay, so let's go back to 12 hour where the yellow K line is in fact below level 20. We cut 12 hours in half to 6 hours, then cut 6 hours in half to 3 hours. That's what I changed it to now. So instead of using the 2 hour, now we're using the 3 hour time frame to close this short. What do we need to see to close this short? The green needs to be rising and above level 20 when rising, and this ARI that's currently falling, it needs to be rising and above level 20 when rising to close this short that we opened up here, and it would still be open right now. It would still be open right now. Now, as far as where could it be going, well, let's have a look. Let's have a look. I know this took a while for me to walk through this, where we opened a short, then closed it. Then we opened a short again, and it's still open. We haven't closed it yet. We're using the 3 hour time frame to close it. The gamma on the ARI is at 0.36. 0.36 for this time frame, for the short-term group of time frames. All right, let's go. All right, that one is open long, open macro short, and that's open scalp long. I need to make, I'm not going to do it now, but I need to make one for close scalp long. I have open scalp long, but I need to make one for Bitcoin called close scalp long. But again, I'm not going to do that right now. Let's look at the near term group for a moment first. Before we do, let me just relax my voice for a minute. I'm going to grab some water. I think we're going to grab some water real quick, just for my voice. My mouth feels kind of dry, a little bit of dry. I won't be gone long at all, be about a minute. Muting my mic for a moment while I blow my nose. Let me transition to that so you do not see me blow my nose. All right. Let me finish drinking some water before I get back to talking. But again, y'all see how using that system, how I do recommend scalping. High time frame scalping, not low time frame scalping. What I've been showing you is high time frame scalping, where I've been limiting myself on how low time frames I go, things of that sort. In my opinion, if you're going to be a day trader, you should scalp, because also scalps can at times get yourself in early on a small swing that could ultimately end up turning out to be a large swing, whether it be in distribution or in accumulation. read some of these chats here. Yeah, sorry about that, RNO. I probably did that a couple of times in the stream. Where I'm bad about doing that, but I get better at not doing that the more often I stream. I've kind of haven't streamed even to my premium subscribers that much as I used to. Why? Because I was investing a ton of hours creating this that I've been showing you. That's what I've been doing. But I start doing this more often. Eventually it'll become a habit where I'll make sure that everybody's seeing the chart majority of the time. Oh, by the way, let's see what my gamma. Okay. What? Oh, shoot, no. Let's keep that at 465. Let's cancel that. There we go. Let's keep that at 465. No. That's the midterm group. Midterm, I'm going to say is about 2.8. Well, pretty much everything has come down with expansion. Here, that should be 2 week, not 3 week. Let me change that to 2 week. Is the red ready to go down below white level 30 in any of these time frames? Ooh, excuse me. Doesn't look like it. I know we're right at it there in the 11 day, but that's not part of this. Actually, it is part of this group. Now we're below white level 30 here in the 12 day with the red line, but the price is above white lower instead of below by white lower. But that red and blue are rising. We'll see. Another 13 hours, 15 minutes. Red is already above white level 30. 13 hours in this remaining to the next 13 day, 13 hours remaining to the next 12 day, 13 hours remaining to the next 8 day, 13 hours remaining to the next 4 day. You know, a lot of new candles coming up soon to give us more of an idea of what we may be doing. It's too early to say at the moment. During those times of doubt as far as where we could go, note I'm not making a flat statement where I said we can go. Open, short. If you're not quite sure where you can go, at least you know when you can open a short. Now as far as where it's going, you may not know right now. You may need another 13 hours, and it may be during that 13 hours we do not see the green line rising and above level 20 while rising. Excuse me, not in the 6. That's not the close. That's open. It's the 3-hour time frame where sometime during over the next 13 hours we may not see the green rising and rising above level 20. We may not see the ARI rising and above level 20 while rising in that 3-hour time frame over the next 13 hours and 15 minutes. So we don't really see clearly yet in higher time frames if we could still be going down lower, but to make sure, let me go to the even lower time frames. Just a minute. Okay, here's the near term group where we've already come down to the white aqua lower, and we knew we could when, let me go full screen with this. When the red and blue are above white level 30, that increases the odds of going up from the white lower to the white aqua upper. From the white lower to the white aqua upper. The red and blue get above level 50, well, we can get expansion up. Same thing here. The red is already below white level 70. The blue gets below white level 70 in anticipation. It gets below it. That's why we fell from up here all the way down to the white aqua lower. We have increased odds of going down to the white aqua lower if both the red and blue are now below white level 70, which they were. That candle, the blue, it just went below white level 70. The red was already below it. Now we just needed the blue to go below it to increase the odds of going down to the white aqua lower. So we've already made it to white aqua lower there. Why am I mentioning that? Because in this near-term group, I'm seeing if all of them have made it down to the white aqua lower. Why am I doing that? Well, for example, let me go back to this super macro group. We've already come down to the white aqua lower with expansion. We've already come down to the white aqua lower with expansion in the 2 week, then the 3 week. The 4 week, we've already come down to the white aqua lower with expansion. We did in the 5 week. We did in the 6 week. Have we in the 8 week? No, we haven't quite come down to the white lower yet. So that's a possibility. The white lower, that's at what price? Right at 14,000. 13,933. So we already see that as a possibility if what? If both the red and the blue are below white level 70. Well, they are this candle. This candle, the blue finally went below white level 70. The red went below white level 70 here, but the blue wasn't below it yet. Now, when the red was approaching level 50, you already see we're going down below the basis. And especially once the red goes below yellow level 50, the price action remains below the yellow B-band basis. But now we have increased odds of continuing falling further down to that white lower, because now the blue line has gone below white level 70 in this 8 week time frame. In this 8 week time frame, which, again, am I making a flat statement and saying that's where we're going? No. I'm just saying we're at risk of going there. We have increased odds of going to it, but does that mean we will go to it? No. No, it does not mean that. Here, the red and blue are below white level 70, green still falling, ARI still falling. Look at the white lower in the 10 week, 9,824. But hey, does that mean we're going to go to it? No. Did we go to the white lower here? No. Did we go to the white lower here? Well, we don't know yet. We've never gone to the white lower in the 12 week. The white lower right now is currently at 6,074. Does that mean we'll never go down to the white lower B-band in the 12 week? No, I'm not going to say that. I've learned to be careful about making flat statements in this profession. All right, but that's what I mean by, first I want to see, whenever I'm looking in these lower time frames, such as the near term group, which is the 12 hour, 24 hour, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, weekly. If we had opened a short, how many of these have we already gone down to the white aqua lower? Because that's usually where you're going down to max. Now, once you get there, could you potentially have expansion? Well, it depends on where the red and blue are. Are they about to go below yellow level 50 there? Because if they are, then yeah, you might get expansion. It might keep going down. And then you would look in lower time frames from that to see the odds of it continuing down. White aqua lower here in the 3-day is 18,850 down to 18,300. 18,850 down to 18,300. If we were to keep going down to the white aqua lower, can we do that? Well, the red and the blue are already below white level 70. So yeah, the next candle, the green keeps falling down towards the white aqua area. Just like the green kept falling down to the white aqua area here, where did the price fall? Down to the white aqua area. Does that mean every time that does that the price will do that? No, but most of the time that usually is the case. Not all the time, but most of the time. So again, the next 3-day candle that begins in 13 hours and 10 minutes now instead of 13 hours 15 minutes. We also get a new 2-day. We also need to get a new 24-hour. Get a new 12-hour. We get a new 4-day. We get a new 6-day. In 13 hours, then we get a lot of new candles coming up here soon, where we will get more information to get an idea. Will we keep going down to the white aqua lower B bands in the 3-day? Because we're already pretty close to the white aqua lower in the 5-day. We're working on it, but the red is not even below yellow level 50 to justify us continuing to fall down from the yellow B-band basis. Does that mean that it's coming right back up here shortly? No, because we could be in a sign of weakness that's overextending down. We could be witnessing it's obviously overextended down at the moment. We got overextension down now in the 5-day. The question is, will it continue to overextend down? Well, again, that's why we were using, just a moment. That's why we're using this method here of, do we know that it's going to keep going down to the white aqua lower in the 5-day time frame? No, but right now we do know this. We would be using a 3-hour time frame to close this short that we opened here, but sometimes you need to wait for more information. In this case, may take up to 13 hours and 10 minutes to get more information, to get an idea of where we could be going. During the meantime, if this green line begins rising and above level 20 when rising, and the ARI is rising and above level 20 when rising, before that 13 hours and 10 minutes is up, if that occurs, that short needs to be closed. It needs to be closed. Most certainly does. Just like we did in this one. When we opened a short here, we closed it here, because you don't know yet right there if it's going to keep going up or if it's going to turn back down again. Because if it does turn back down again, you can get in again. And I just showed you how we got back in again. But do we know where it's going down to, or have a decent idea of where it's going down to? Unfortunately, the way so many time frames have already gone down into the white aqua lower, that's why we're in the near term group, to see where we may have risen up from the white aqua lower, but then potentially coming back down to it. That's why I was looking at that 3-day. If we can continue down, our next stop is a range of 18,300 to 18,850. 18,300 to 18,850 is the white lower. 18,850 approximately. This is where it's looking like at the moment that we could continue going down to. Am I making a flat statement and saying that's where we're going? No, I've learned to be careful about doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to say that. But I will say this, like I just said a moment ago. If that 3-hour green line comes up, it's rising and above level 20 when rising. If that ARI comes up rising and above level 20 when rising, and when that ARI comes up rising like that above level 20, its gamma is 0.36. Its gamma is 0.36.
In the 3-hour time frame, well, in the entire short-term group, 0.36. At the moment, I may end up changing that. That is possible. My test on inputs for different groups of time frames is still ongoing. That's really the main last thing that I'm doing. The most important thing that I'm doing, and then I'm done. It's time to begin writing the script. I need to find a good balance on the inputs for different groups of time frames. I've already determined it should not be the same value in every group of time frames. No, I've already determined that.
Yeah, right now, at least you do know that you should have opened a short, and it would still be open. Where it's going to at the moment, technically you don't know at the moment. From what I'm seeing, so many time frames where we're already down to the white aqua lower. That's why I went back to the near term group where I knew we could have bounced off the white aqua lower. Now we're coming back down to a white aqua lower. We're still having a hard time getting away from that white aqua lower in the weekly. If we were to look at the 2 week, that's right here. Let's go full screen with the 2 week. Is the red ready to go up above white level 30 at the moment? No. The blue is, man. Right now it's still kind of sideways.
Well, let's do this, y'all. When I say let's do this, remember how I started out this video? If any of you have been here from the start and you're still here, I started out with my open short macro set of time frames. I say again, open short macro, where the highest time frame was the 16-week time frame that we cut in half to the 8-week, cut that in half to the 4-week, cut that in half to the 2-week, cut that in half to the 1-week, then cut that in half to the 4-day time frame, which was our lowest set of time frames. Let's go there where I was saying right here. Here's the 16-week, 8-week, 4-week, 2-week, 1-week, 4-day. Where I'm basically saying, where I was basically saying, because of going as high as the 16-week for the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin, 16-week is the highest for Bitcoin. Cutting in half and all that, using my conditions, having the inputs where I believe they should be set for the macro. The conditions were met in the 8-week, 4-week, 2-week, 1-week, 4-day. They were met right there at that yellow vertical timeline where I mentioned early on in the stream we could have opened a 3x to 5x position that's going to be open a long time, because our macro group signaler just told us we may have a long, very long macro term reversal that's beginning this very moment. This is the beginning of it. The beginning right there of a long term, a macro going down. So if you want to open a short there, and you do the same thing in reverse for accumulation, where you would get that kind of same similar macro signal. Of course, I'm not going to go through that right now for that, using a macro group where you would know, hey, it's time to really load up on those longs now, the same way we need to really load up on some shorts here before it starts going down over a long period of time. Same thing here, but again with like 3x to 5x. Rather small leverage, not large leverage on something you're going to leave open a long time. I mean,
At least that's what I recommend. Damn, I did it again, y'all. But at least that's what I recommend right here. Where right here I was saying we got the signal from the 16 week. The K line was above level 80. That was the highest time frame for me to open a short going down from 80 to 20. The 16 week K line was above level 80. We cut that in half to the 8 week, where I need the ARI falling less than 80 when falling. It was, and the green was falling right here in less than 80 when falling. Let y'all see that right there. The green and purple. The purple is the ARI, and then green is the green line. They were both falling, and they were less than 80 when falling right there. On this candle that is above the white upper B band in the 8 week time frame. It's right at the white upper B band in the 4 week. It's right at the basis in the 2 week. It's right at the basis in the 1 week. We're at the white aqua lower in the 4 day. Does that, and I mentioned earlier in the stream, does that mean that we could not be scalping or small swing trading, several trades? Excuse me. Yeah, several trades all in here. Even after we opened a short, it's going to be open for a long time right here when looking at it in the 4 day time frame. You can still open up another short position for your scalps. Scalp short, scalp long, scalp short, scalp long, scalp short, scalp long, scalp short. May or may not have closed it, but your near term group, let's say, your small swing group list of time frames provided a signal when you open a scalp and it kept going, let's say down to here. Now your small swing group signaler is telling you to open a short here for a small swing. You may have already had a scalp open here. You may have decided, well, let's keep it open. I wouldn't necessarily do that. I want to always encourage, open another position if your exchange will allow you to open multiple positions on the same asset. I'm trying to remember why I mentioned all that. I'm having a brain fart for a moment. There was a reason why I brought up this macro group. I know there was a reason why. What threw me off was when I saw I was not showing my chart. I forgot what I was talking about when I saw I was not showing my charts. Maybe it'll come back to me. I think the reason that I showed it again was because we knew when to open a short for scalping. I also showed that it would still be open using what time frame to close it, the 3 hour. Now, as far as where it can be going, technically right now I need more information that is going to come in about 13 hours. It's hard to say at the moment, but we got more information coming in 13 hours. Am I going to make a rash decision and close that short too early right now because I don't know what I'm doing? No, because we do know what we're doing. We have a system, a strict set of rules that we go by, where we see this, and this met in these time frames. That means I do this, period, and leave emotion out of it. Then once we did that, based on those 5 time frames to open that trade, now what single time frame am I going to use to close that trade? And how do we come up with that single time frame? That's what I've been explaining here. That's the importance of the yellow K line. Is it above level 80 or below level 20? And it needs to be in the highest time frame. You also need to have a maximum highest time frame for each group. Then a max, or let's say an absolute lowest time frame that you refuse to go below for opening. a maximum highest that I refuse to go above for closing. But I'm also looking at conditions to unlock that maximum if certain conditions occur in higher time frames. This is the immediate group. Look at this 15-minute, y'all. Those B-bands are tight in that 15-minute. Man, they are tight. But it looks like we're about to get some expansion down. Certainly does. Certainly does. In this immediate group. Let's go to the short-term group. I already showed you how we would have opened that short and where we would have opened it, and it would still be open, and we'd be using this 3-hour time frame right here to close that short, where we need the green rising and above level 20 when rising, and we need this ARI rising and above level 20. But do I have 3-6? No, I do not. For the short-term group, it needs to be 3-6. And let's make it that way in every single chart in this short-term group. Let me also get rid of my B-band threshold there. And apply that everywhere. But yeah, right now we're using the 3-hour. Green should be rising greater than level 20 right here. Green needs to be rising greater than level 20 when rising, and the ARI needs to be rising and greater than level 20, which is right there. Excuse me. The red in the 8 hours already below white, level 30. The next 8-hour candle that begins approximately 5 hours from now, the blue might be below white, level 30, where we could see stage 2 expansion down. Am I saying we're going to get stage 2 expansion down? Hell, I don't know that. Could be the next candle the green begins turning up in that 8 hour. You know, it's possible. And it did it earlier in the 6 hour, did it even earlier in the 4 hour, did it even earlier in the 3. You know, right now, technically, you don't know. Is downward pressure continuing at the moment? Yes, because the red line is below yellow level 50 in this entire short-term group. Not a single time frame from the 30-minute all the way up to the 8 hour. Not a single time frame has the red line above level 50. Not a single one of them. But the red going below white level 30 in these, like right here, red going below white level 30, now we're at risk of going down from the white lower B band, since the red is going down from the white level 30 in that 6 hour time frame, which is another cause for expansion down. But we really didn't get it until that blue also got below level 50. Now we finally begin stage 1 expansion, not contraction. We were getting contraction. Now we get expansion when both the red and now the blue gets below level 50. They're both below level 50 now, so the next candle we begin getting expansion of the B bands and the price action going down with expansion, because the red and blue are going down below yellow level 50. In that 6 hour, we knew that increased volume, odds of increased volume was approaching, with the red already below level 50 and this blue kept coming down, kept coming down, kept coming down, and bam, you know, we had stage 1 expansion down. That's just looking at it another way without using my system for opening and closing. I'm just showing you with the red and then the blue, both of them combined together, we can also use that, knowing what we know about that, to determine when we might have increased volume, some increased volatility approaching. How? When both the red and, now here we are right here, the next candle, we know from the angle of descent it's going, this next candle after this right here, that blue may be below level 50. It wasn't. It was right at level 50. But the next candle after that, then it went below level 50, and what did the price do? Bam! We got expansion. We knew there was increased odds of that occurring right there. That's in the 6 hour. Let's go to my closing group of time frames. Remember, we're using the 3 hour, but I'm going to put the 6 hour here. We opened our short right here. When looking at the 6 hour, we opened it in this candle, which was right here in the 3 hour. It was near the white lower B band, y'all, in the 3 hour. But in the 6 hour, right in here, just before it smacked down on this candle in the 6 hour. Well, that 6 hour candle was right here where I was showing the red, and the blue now is going below yellow level 50. I don't have the blue line included in this script here. This script here is only used for opening and closing positions. The blue line does not assist me in opening and closing positions, as well as these lines here do, if I'm using a certain system. And by the way, that should have been green, because that was a gain, a profit. That was not a loss. That was a gain. So that's supposed to be green. And there's would have been a short here. I didn't have one open because I've been, let's just say, doing my homework. There would be a short open at the moment that's currently right at 5% gain and fluctuating. Only way you secure that gain right now is if you close right now. But you know, I have strict adherence to rules, and the script will help me maintain that strict adherence. As I mentioned with the premium subscribers last night, there's never a perfect trade. You can always find something that you were sad about, as CC says. You can always find something sad about your trade. And one of the best examples to me was this. Let's say for a short, you open that short right at the top. Right at the top. And you wrote it down all the way to near the bottom. Let's say over the course of a couple of days, where you closed it, right at the bottom. You did everything right, but you're still sad. Why? Now you wish you had a larger position. Now you wish you had a larger position. You can always find something to be sad about. That's why I love that post that CC made. You can always find something to criticize about a trade that you made. It's hard to ever have a perfect trade, but even much harder to have a perfect trade every trade. Because no, it's not being realistic to think that you can open a short right at the very top and to close it right at the very bottom, like this one right here. It may end up over time, as this white lower B band keeps falling. Right here, I told you the way I have it designed with my inputs on the gamma, that would, it would end up closing the short around the white lower B band. And that white lower B band may be something along that line, let's say, or it's possible it could end up being something like this, where you only end up with about a 3.5% gain and no leverage now. And no leverage. If you just sold outright from right here and then potentially bought outright here, because now you got a long signal here. But if you didn't get a long signal here, you're not buying yet. You sold, but you haven't bought yet. You're waiting for a long signal from your open long scalp group of time frames. Of course, it's also possible it could be something like this right here. It just depends on if we're still using the 3-hour time frame to close this trade right here, because once we get on over here, it may be the 24-hour. Now the 12-hour, but now the 24-hour K-line is below level 20. Half that to 12-hour, half that to 6-hour, and use the 6-hour time frame. I haven't made that decision yet because I told you I'm doing final fine-tuning on the gamma, which is going to determine how high of a time frame I allow it to go for closing a short or for closing a long when scalping. I didn't say when small swing trading or large swing trading, but when scalping. I'm still fine-tuning that on the gamma for the short-term group. Once I get that fine-tuned, then I will know, will my max time frame for that group be 12-hour, 24-hour, or 2-day for opening and for closing. And it may be different for closing than it will for opening, as far as how high of a time frame will allow it to go for opening and how high of a time frame will allow it to go to close what was opened. Let me go and remove that for a moment. And we will remove that for a moment. We'll wait until it comes down here. Ends up coming back up to trigger to close the position. But yeah, if we have a strict adherence to rules, y'all, while also realizing, while paying strict adherence to your rules, you're realizing it's realistic to realize you will not always have perfect trades. You won't. There will be times, even using my system, you'll have a little loss. You'll have a little loss. Not as much loss as from other scripts I created, because I made this script dynamic, where all my other scripts were fixed. Of course, this new one is not made yet, but it will be. It's soon. It's not far away. That's all I'm going to say about that. But bottom line, it's best to have a set of rules and requirements for those rules that you pay strict adherence to for best consistency. That's what I was telling my premium subscribers last night. And I'm a little sleepy at the moment, trying to keep my eyes open. But if you want consistency, in my opinion, you need rules that you need to understand very well. You've practiced exercising those rules over time and even with a little bit of money, to also learn how to manage emotions. And then you slowly start building up your position as well, because you're learning how to manage your emotions. And another way of managing your emotions, y'all, is if especially it may have taken you 1 week, 2 weeks, could have taken you 2 months, to where you're finally convinced that the system you're using, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's just say safe and profitable to use. It's proved itself to you. Now you've most certainly taken emotion out of it. Your emotion's gone. But at the same time, don't get upset. And I was showing this many examples for premium subscribers yesterday on the stream that I did. They saw that if there was a loss, it was often very small compared to the gains, because the goal is to keep our losses small and our gains large. And when doing that, we also want to try to have controlled aggression. I want to be aggressive, but not too aggressive, as far as my rules and requirements for those rules in that system, for when it opens a position and when it closes a position, and what determines the aggressiveness of those positions as far as when you open them and close them, has a lot to do with the gamma, your input on the gamma, that must be different for different groups of time frames. All right. But again, as far as where we could be going down to at the moment, I need another 13 hours, which may be now about another 12 and a half hours maybe, before we might be able to get a good, decent idea of that. But I did say if we did come down, we are looking at the white aqua lower in the 3-day. That's about 18,300 to 18,850. The white aqua lower in the 4-day is 18,580 to 19,050. The white lower 18.9, then 17.9. But we still have another 3 days remaining in the current 8-day candle. So if we were to come down significantly, we may have to wait another 3 days, which could be at the end of the next 3-day candle. When does the next 3-day candle begin? 12 hours, 38 minutes. We have a lot of new candles coming up soon. Will we continue going down in the 2-day? Right now it doesn't look like it. As far as with expansion, this white aqua lower B band might hold support here for a while in the 24-hour, before then potentially legging down again, before potentially legging down again. What happened to my B bands? Like they disappeared. Again, when I go from the near-term group to the mid-term group, I mean all of them at the white aqua lower. All of them. Yeah, I know we bounced off of it a little bit, but now it's like we're coming back down to the white lower. We're having a hard time getting above the basis in the 8-day, 9-day, 10-day, 11-day, 12-day, 13-day, and 2-week. This here's the 4-day. It's really not part of this midterm group. It's only here for pressure races, which the red line, when it crossed above level 50, it triggered upward pressure that lasts for how long? Until the white energy comes down to level 50. Will this white energy come below level 50 to stop that to stop that upward pressure, when the red closed above level 50, that triggered upward pressure. That upward pressure continues until the white energy comes down to level 50. Will the white energy come down to level 50 in the 4-day before the red line can go above level 50 to trigger upward pressure in the 8-day? Well, we get a new 4-day in 12 hours 36 minutes. We get a new 8-day in 12 hours 36 minutes. Let's see if the red candle, the red line will likely in the 8-day be above level 50. It'll be above level 50. And the 4-day, it's possible the energy is possible. The energy may be below level 50 at the same time. That means it's a tie. When it's a tie on that race like that, what's the lowest time frame of your 2 time frames of your pressure race? In this case, it was the 4-day against the 8-day. So that lowest time frame, 4-day. Let's go 3 time frames lower than the 4-day and look at something. So 3 time frames lower. And what do I mean by that? Let's cut the 4-day in half to the 2-day, which is right here. Let's cut the 2-day in half to the 24-hour, which is right here. Let's cut the 24-hour in half to the 12-hour, which is right there. Actually, the 24-hour and the 2-day red and blue are above level 50. It's the 12-hour that's below level 50. Right now, majority rules at the moment with red and blue both above level 50. That's what I used to teach, saying that odds are is that, yeah, I know the 4-day energy tied with the 8-day red line. The red going above level 50 in the 8-day, while the energy in the 4-day went below level 50 at the same time. It was a tie. We're looking at 3 lower time frames to have a look to see if the red and blues are above level 50 or below level 50 to help us determine if upward pressure will continue or if downward pressure will continue. I personally, before making this decision, looking at that in these 3 lower time frames, meaning we will have multiple new candles in these lower time frames before we even begin a new 8-day and 4-day candle 12 and a half hours from now. 12 and a half hours from now, we can have some new candles in the 2-day as well, the 1-day as well, 24-hour, and the 12-hour as well. Let's see what they look like because if this red and blue still fall in the 24-hour, the next 24-hour candle, now the red is below level 50 in the 24-hour, and it's already below level 50 in the 12-hour. In that case, majority rules red 2 time frames below level 50. In that case, because this one's above level 50 in that one, but majority rules, I would have to assume that downward pressure may be continuing if the red was below level 50 in the 12-hour and 24-hour. I don't know if that made sense to y'all going through, but if I repeat stuff over and over again, even after you watch lessons on the website, repetition is key. If I keep saying it over and over and over again, eventually you pick it up. Oh, excuse me. It is 5:27 a.m. I've been up since about 2 p.m. yesterday. About 2 p.m. yesterday. But I didn't have much sleep yesterday. Was I covering something on the chart but not showing y'all? I think I was. I did that shit again. Alright. the 8-day, 4-day. The red and the 4-day closed above level 50, triggering upward pressure that lasts for how long? Until the white energy comes down to level 50. Will the white energy in the 4-day come down below level 50 before the red line in the 8-day can go above level 50? Because again, just like when the red line went above level 50 and triggered upward pressure in the 4-day, same thing for the 8-day. If the red line goes above level 50 in the 8-day, that's triggering upward pressure that lasts for how long? Until the white energy comes down to level 50. Right, but there's a race currently going on between the red line in the 8-day and the energy in the 2-day. We get a new, did I say 2? I meant to say 4-day. 4-day and 8-day. We get a new 4-day in 12.5 hours. We get a new 8-day in 12.5 hours. I also mentioned if they both tie, red goes above level 50 in the 8-day, and the energy goes below level 50 in the 2-day. If we end up having a tie, the lowest time frame of these two time frames, 4-day and 8-day, the lowest time frame was 4 days. Let's cut that in half 3 times. Let's cut the 4-day in half. The first time the 4-day cut in half, that would be this 2-day time frame right here. Cut the 2-day in half, that will be this 24-hour time frame, the daily. We cut that in half, 24 hours, to get this 12-hour time frame right here, where I'm looking for majority rules for the pressure race. Which one of these 3 has the red above level 50, where upward pressure is still continuing? And which ones, if any, have the red below level 50 that may have triggered downward pressure? Well, the red in the 12 hours already triggered downward pressure. That lasts for how long? Until the white energy comes back up to level 50. Will the white energy in the 12 hour come up here to level 50 to create cause for upward pressure before the red line in the 24 hour can go down below level 50 to trigger downward pressure? You know, that's the question. Well, 12.5 hours, we may have that question answered. Where, excuse me, 12.5 hours from now, this 24-hour candle, if it too now is below yellow level 50, just like the 12-hour is, majority rules on those 3. These 2 red below level 50, this 1 red above level 50. Majority rules, red below level 50, that equates to downward pressure. The odds are more in favor of downward pressure continuing at that time. That's when looking at pressure races. Do I use pressure races to determine when I open or close a trade? No. But they're helpful to use for, let's say, like after you've opened a trade, it may have been you opened a short, you can use pressure races to see if downward pressure is continuing, to get an idea of when you might potentially be closing your short. I can tell y'all I'm starting to get a little bit too sleepy, and it's reducing the quality of my streams, where I can see y'all right now getting frustrated. Look, man, we're just seeing your mug, we're not seeing your chart. That may discourage people from even wanting to watch my stream. They may say, man, this dude's so unprofessional, he doesn't even know how to do a stream. I will get back in the groove here soon. Sorry that quite often I did not have the chart up when talking. Not too often, but more often than I would like. I'm sorry about that. Did I cover Cardano already? No. Well, last night I didn't cover Bitcoin. I did cover Ethereum. I did cover Cardano, but I didn't cover Bitcoin. Tonight I covered Ethereum. Tonight I covered Bitcoin, but honestly, I don't feel like staying up. It's about to be daylight, y'all. And I've been for Cardano, as far as where it could be going, I'm sure it's going to be very similar, where I need to see another 12 and a half hours to get an idea of if downward pressure is still continuing, where it could potentially be going. More than likely, a lot of time frames, the price action is already at the white aqua lower B bands, except for maybe the near term group. But I'm telling you, if you're also using my system for scalps, mainly for when to open that short scalp, just as I showed you with Ethereum and with Bitcoin, you could have easily opened a short using that system. You could have opened a short and that short would still be open. I haven't looked at it lately, but we're using a 3-hour time frame for Bitcoin to close the short. For Ethereum, we're also using a 3-hour, where we need the green rising above level 20. We need the ARI rising, and when it's rising, it needs to be above level 20. That short would still be open. For Ethereum, for Bitcoin, I'm sure it's very likely very similar for Cardano as well. But honestly, I did it again, y'all. Not that y'all had to see it, not that you had to see it, but for Ethereum, it's the 3-hour, where we need the green line rising and the ARI rising, and when they're both rising, they both need to be above level 20. In this 3-hour for Ethereum, that's the current time frame to use to close the short for Ethereum. Well, it's the same thing for Bitcoin. It's also the 3-hour for Bitcoin, where we're waiting for the same conditions to close a short that would have been open on this yellow vertical timeline and still be open right now on this candle that has 25 minutes remaining. Then we get another 3-hour candle, about 25 minutes. But I don't plan on staying on this stream another 25 minutes just to see what that candle looks like. I don't feel like doing that. And again, sorry if I discouraged any of y'all to make you leave. If you came back, watch the recording, I kind of doubt it, because if you left because you're not seeing the chart and I did it too many times, I can understand why that would be frustrating. For that, I apologize. I'm very sorry about that, because I am getting sleepy. You're probably saying, well, you should be getting more sleep. Well, I've been busy, y'all. I've kind of put a deadline on myself where I'm trying to accomplish certain goals to get to the ultimate goal by a certain date, hopefully no later than the anniversary, my first anniversary of the website going live, which will be December 4th. December 4th is the anniversary when we first went live with the website. But I'm going to call it quits now, y'all. I can't do anything for Cardano. Not right now. I'm too sleepy. We are going to call it quits now for the stream. Thanks for joining in. I'm sleepy. Gotta go. Stay awesome. And fist pump.